coming off a fresh loss yesterday to a support Pudge 2 times in a row in the most demoralizing fashion that I may have ever seen in my life, Cinderin.
It's a very big statement.
Will they come back? Can they fight this out?
Teams get crushed, Shannon, to an extent you would not believe. Now, they did lose to the best team of the tournament.
They did.
And the second game was within reach, but they kind of dropped the ball and got outplayed by Marvin.
The hook was within reach.
Yes,
literally.
Right. You barely missed any that game on 9 class.
Yeah, that was performance of a lifetime there.
Of course, he's making sure to increase the player count because, as we know, Pudge, everybody's favorite hero of all time in Dota, the most popular hero ever played. And if the pros can make it work, so can you.
That's right.
Isn't that right, Shannon? That's right. Everybody can do what 9 class just did. So, I don't really know where to start with these drafts. I think the panel had some really good points about the potential weaknesses of Gaimin, and I'm in agreement that I overall think Aurora should be a little bit easier to execute. They have more, I think, more consistently reliable damage. They have disengage. They have engage through both Willow and Naga can do both. So you have a lot of control. Willow has looked incredibly good, in my opinion, in this tournament. On the Gaimin side, I think it's a little bit less obvious how you're going to fight. What I love to see when you're running Disruptor is a really aggressive lineup so you can use Glimpse. You want to feel strong, you want to chase the enemy heroes away and then pull them back into kills. I'm just not sure that you can get Aurora to flee. Can't they just stand their ground and fight you back? That's like my biggest worry here.
Yep, potentially.
Maybe with a farmed up enough Quinn Void Spirit, he will eventually be able to do that assassination damage and make the plays that you glimpse them back into. Until that point, we'll see. The Terrorblade Darkseer lane will be interesting. See this play out. The 4 TB for Tofu is a guy I generally consider Tofu particularly good at playmaking supports. The ranged ones of the kind. So like your Hoodwink, Skywrath, that type, Lion. Terrorblade, a very different type of hero.
Let it out, Cinderin.
He doesn't generally play very... I would say he's one of the less greedy 4s in my experience.
Yeah,
so I don't know if this hero is really... it's not a slam dunk for me on this player, but he has played it before and done well. It's not that he's incapable. He's just fine, but you know, when you're at this level and the teams get this skilled, you really want to try to get that last 10% out of your players to get the victory.
Yep, that is true. That is true. Quinn right now in the mid lane, of course. 8-4 right now in the Void Spirit. Kiyotaka, our favorite player in the tournament to talk about for various reasons, both positive and negative.
Yeah, I think statistically your favorite is GPK, but go ahead.
Yeah, but this is the new GPK. Yep. This is the new Eternal Envy. It's a long line of reincarnation in the Dota scene. And I'm going to make it official. He is the Eternal Envy now.
All right.
Of the modern day. He is the modern day wild card, the 50-50, the RNG man. That doesn't sound that good, but...
How do you make 50-50 with his name? I guess you could do K-E-E Yotaka.
Yo.
You could call him 50K. It's like 50 Cent, but a lot more.
Yeah, that's right.
Think about that.
Well, if Aurora can win this series, he's going to get a lot more money.
That's right.
Of course. Both of these teams having their struggles in this second group stage. We talked about Paravision doing incredible, going undefeated. And of course, Beplin, we just watched them beat Talon. So Talon's in the lower bracket. So winner of this series will find their way into that lower bracket against Talon. Loser, of course, out of the tournament entirely. Watson going to be playing the position 1 Abaddon here. I'm seeing a little bit less of this hero than we have in recent memory as the glimpse comes out onto Mira. Nice body blocks from Toronto, Tokyo. Fire Shield does a little residual damage, but nothing to write home about. So yeah, position 1 Abaddon. And why the Disruptor here? This is a hero we're not seeing a ton of either.
Yeah, I have to be honest, I'm really not sure what they see in Disruptor in this particular game. I think Malady plays this hero exceptionally well, so from like a player perspective, I totally get it if you want to enable your players, but just strategically, this does seem a little bit odd. He might find a play onto Mira here though, but the Brambles, he should be fine. He's fine. Like I was saying, generally when I like Disruptor the most is either you have a good combo or, well, ideally you have both. Aggressive heroes that chase and you send heroes back to you and get the kills. But as it was picked, I don't think there was an obvious counter. It's decent against Brew Split.
Oh, Watson in a lot of trouble. Will pop the Lotus to stay alive. Toronto Tokyo is going to have to exit as well as the Aphotic Shield doing some work here. Mira, is he actually just going to pop? Indeed, that is the case. And Toronto Tokyo is staying a little too close as Watson can just die to the tower. No, Toronto Tokyo with the last burst of speed.
Wait, what?
Either way, first blood to Watson.
I felt like Mira kind of just killed himself. And the worst part about it is Brewmaster doesn't have any resources. I guess Willow is going to be able to come back to you with his salve, so that'll help Toronto Tokyo. Ooh, he almost tied to the Aphotic Shield in the wave. Nice try there from Watson. Felt like an avoidable death. But if nothing else, Mira is back with a full set of resources to try to get some lane control back. And the same cannot be said for Gaimin. Their heroes down here are very low on health and mana.
Oh, this is an interesting gank.
Yeah, the classic level 2 Terrorblade comes in with a whopping combo of Reflection into Conjure Image.
Yep. Okay, just a ward.
Yeah, he's back out.
Yeah, that's true. He does have Blood Grenade on top of that combination. Don't forget it.
True.
Of course, Darkseer, one of those heroes that at some point you can just leave him alone. But the levels for Tofu will end up being an issue in the long run if he does that too early. Toronto Tokyo. So let's talk about the Brewmaster. Usually the first thing I think of with this hero is the Dispel with the Storm Panda, which against Illusions is really good, but this is a support TB that we've been discussing, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the Surge, I suppose, Ion Shell, the Resonant Pulse. I think that's it. Nothing too crazy is Quint. Gonna use the Astral Step to make sure he can get the Invis rune, so a good pickup. The toss back, though, from Kiyotaka. Quinn, third member of Aurora coming to play. He can just pop this Invis, and he will, but the Sentry is placed. He's gonna get reeled in after the fact. Astral Step to the high ground as Kiyotaka trying to close the gap here. And as the Shadow Realm is gonna be used as well. Does he have the vision? Yes, the Resonant Pulse. Quinn tossed up. Kiyotaka under the tower, now a double TP. Quinn looks like he might stay alive, but the avalanche at the last moment. Kiyotaka, the right click. The Lotus is actually going to save Quinn. Gets ensnared. Mira going to suicide himself on the towers. He's not careful. They finally get the Void Spirit. Kiyotaka dies as well, so both mid laners drop dead.
In the meantime, Toronto Tokyo died bottom to the Abaddon. But like, this is just, yeah, it's not a solo kill. This is not a fair fight with Disruptor. This is what Disruptor is so good at. You get those 2v1s, you start chasing, pull him right back. But honestly, the crazy thing about that,
that's a big one.
That was such an exceptionally well-executed gank by Aurora, actually. I think the way they set that up was beautiful, the way they did the toss back, the way they set up their brambles. And they just barely, after absolutely everything in a 30-second chase, get the kill, and it costs them still.
Oh, you can see the ensnare being used again to full effect. Ace will go down to Nightfall. Man, this reel-in is sometimes insane.
Yeah. And Ensnare as the spell in general against Darkseer is incredible. You just wait for him to surge, and you just keep him there. It's a very long-lasting level 1 spell, 2.75 seconds on the net. You add the reel-in factor, you could argue it's like a 3.5-second route because they lose some of the distance they traveled before you net them in. Time for the 8-minute rune.
For the 8-minute rune, but it is a haste for Kiyotaka. Okay.
Quinn was trying to be cute there.
Yeah, he tries. He's going to take some damage, but won't die here with all the support here from his Gaimin Gladiator teammates. Tofu completely drained of mana now on level 4 TB. Something I don't think I could ever get used to, by the way. And with this haste, Kiyotaka is going to be a pretty hard kill. So Gaimin might have to look elsewhere.
Watson has level 6. They might try to force his ult here.
Yeah, they got the Shadow Realm on him. He's already at half HP. Primal Split popped. The stun to come out, and Kiyotaka with that haste. They're going to make him use that ult, and he's just going to get tossed up into the air. No TP's really coming, although somebody from the gate. But that is another Aurora member, Nightfall. Wants to steal some experience.
Mission accomplished.
Toronto Tokyo claims the kill.
Gonna cost them their top tower, though. So, not really all that great for Aurora necessarily, unless they can also take the bot tower themselves, but wouldn't be surprised to see Gaimin try to mount a defense. They do have a Darkseer with Vanguard who could take the brunt of the damage to hold it. Knowing that there's no primal split, I'm actually really surprised if they don't try to defend, and they will. Here comes Malady, and here comes the TP in from Watson.
Yeah, Watson. Toronto Tokyo inside the kinetic field right now. Tofu, big gank from him, got the reflection off. Now the glimpse onto Toronto. As the meta pop from Tofu, they're tickling this this Brewmaster, but he will eventually be run down. And meanwhile, the Laguna Blade LSA, Kiyotaka here as well to ensure the death of Ace. So it's a 1-for-1 across the board. Both offlaners take a tumble.
I think that gank bottom was a great showcase of the concern about damage from Gaimin, just how long it took them to kill a Brewmaster that started on half health. Obviously, do get it in the end.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Takes some work. Toronto Tokyo being cautious with his TP, as he should. He TPs to the tier 2 tower and starts running down to lane. Obviously does not want to get glimpsed back to base. Malady will not be finding that glimpse indeed. But
big
overall,
reflection from Tofu.
Yeah, nice. Good harass. Love that. 100 damage there.
Yeah,
Quinn
with Ace here, trying to take out Mira. Kiyotaka with the avalanche to delay it, but eventually the Aurora member does fall. Toronto Tokyo now being forced out of the tier 1, but the glimpse into the static storm. They're going to try to go on this very tanky Brewmaster, and they're going to get him. Yeah. Malady with the last hit there, and they're going to get the tower as well.
This is a really good friend for Void Spirit to have. This hero loves playing with Darkseer. Getting the Ion Shell for yourself. You can surge to easier get into the fight and maybe reserve an Astral Step charge. You vacuum people together into a Resonant Pulse to give you a lot of barrier. It's definitely a good combination of two heroes, especially when Darkseer, either in this part of the game before the enemy heroes get tanky enough to withstand the Ion Shell damage, but also later when the Void Spirit gets big enough. So far so good for Gaimin. I had my concerns, but they've taken 3 towers minute 11:30 with this lineup.
Yeah, a little surprising.
It's standard Gaimin though, right? It's in their DNA to take the early towers. It's more so when the lanes fall apart for them that things get hard. Or in the mid game. And that's definitely something Aurora have not managed to do here is slow Gaimin's early game down. All of their cores are pretty happy. So far so good for them.
Yeah, I mean, all the cores in the game are relatively close as we're going to see the Avalanche. Terrorize being faked out from Mira. The Bedlam to fall. They're going to get the toss-up onto Quinn. Just to dissimulate. He wants to actually get aggressive. The Astral Step onto 2, but there is the song from Panto. As Quinn on the high ground, ready to try to turn this potentially. Terrorize to follow. The Abaddon, of course, still has the ult. Will eventually go off as Quinn gets the Laguna Blade to the back of the head. Gets a big Astral Step, though. As Kiyotaka, he's actually going to survive this. They glimpse away Nightfall. It's Panto getting run down, but the Ensnare, just a thorn in the side of Gaimin. They've lost 2 now, as Quinn might be in some trouble. Ace on the run. That seems to be who they're targeting, but Watson, remember, he doesn't have his ult anymore. Astral Step again. Quinn getting aggressive. Now disengaging with the Dissimulate.
Bramble.
Gets brambled and will fall, though. And nice Dragon Slave to find one more. Tofu going to continue with this reflection. Mira, with that Earn Charge applied, will drop. So 2 for 1 in this extended portion of the fight. And somehow Watson actually survives here. Still 2,000-ish away from the Radiance for him. But still not afraid to get down and dirty, as they say. Honestly, the Talisman Evasion saving him.
It's a very even game so far. The only hero really standing out is Nightfall's Lena's net worth here. Pulling ahead significantly, not too surprising. It is the hero that theoretically here should farm the fastest when Terrorblade's played support. And Nightfall 2-0 and 2 will be progressing quite well. So things, I don't know what to say. It's kind of going according to plan for both teams. I think Aurora would have liked to not lose the towers that they have, but terms of overall teamfight prowess, they're definitely up there.
Oh, we got the Bedlam. This is the fight for the Wisdom Shrine. Another Bramble hits as Toronto Tokyo making his way over. The Terrorize, though, should ensure that they will grab this, and they're going to get the LSA and destruction of Ace. And Tofu now on the run. He does have Sunder, so they do have to be a bit careful here. Toronto Tokyo. No ult quite yet. Tofu, he does get off the Sunder onto the support Naga Siren as Toronto Tokyo is bursted. Quinn making his way over and turning this fight. The Avalanche from Kiyotaka ensures another kill for Aurora. Of course, no Sunder to come for Tofu's already used it. The Avatos eventually enough for Kiyotaka. So in the end, Gaimin do lose 3. Quinn making that a better trade than it would have been. They get the 2 cores. And the Avalanche now Kiyotaka showing off that Blink Dagger. There's Quinn. The Curse Crown will hit, but they don't have any follow-up here.
Pretty much
They're going to go. Ooh.
All right. Yikes. That was a close call. I do think he's killable there. Avatos, 1-hit tree throw, and maybe a little help from Naga. Would have got it done, but Quinn was in the dissimulate and does not get killed as a result. So still remains a dead even game.
Yeah,
now.
but this is with 3 tower advantage on Gaimin.
Yeah, and you're approaching some pretty meaningful items here. So Lina almost Boots of Travel. On the Tiny, he's going Echo Sabers. He'll be scaling the Radiance of Brewmaster. Is probably the biggest item in this entire game right now to look forward to, and that's close on him. He's 800 away. Similar story for Watson. About 1,000 on him.
Yeah.
So the game will change drastically in the next 3 minutes when these big items come out. Ace will be working on a pipe. Doesn't get much better than this for a pipe game. Tiny, Lina, Willow, even Brewmaster Radiance.
Yeah, Kiyotaka gets that damage rune as Ace. He has the Halberd currently. And going for a pipe, which definitely needed this game against Aurora's very heavy magic damage lineup.
I can't tell if you're trolling.
What? How? Huh?
I literally just talked about it for 20 seconds.
The pipe is going to be really... I'm actually not trolling.
That's good. That's
I
right.
legit do not listen to you.
That's a good self-report. That's fine. That's fine. Although I don't know what I prefer.
Yeah.
I don't know which version I prefer, if it's the one where you're trolling and you just repeat it, or the one where you're not listening at all. They're both equally funny in a way.
I mean, this is pretty normal for casters, though. I would think. I would hope.
You just have a...
Especially with one of them with having dementia,
You just struggle with paying attention to things. It's okay. I have the same with other things. I'm good at paying attention to what you say, though. I'll say that. It generally works for me.
No, you've definitely said the same thing as me many times. I just don't point it out, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't.
Legitimately. I swear. I swear on Gaimin.
Okay. Point it out next time it happens.
Okay.
You're better at paying attention to your environment than I am.
So as we both established,
Yep.
independently, the pipe very good this game.
Yeah.
A lot of magic damage. Aurora.
There's the Radiance on Brew.
Double Radiance now.
Yep. So basically simultaneous arrival for both teams here on that item. Now Aurora will take their first tower of the game. Will be Nightfall. Actually not getting the last hit because of the glyph. It went to the creep wave. A little bit fortunate there for the side of Gaimin. Not a big deal though. Malady is about to die. If anything scouted him here, any Naga illusion would do it. And Kiyotaka will just assassinate, but instead, it's going to see Tofu.
Yep, the Avatos into the Terrorize with the Bedlam. That's enough. Tofu dead.
Nice combo.
What do you think
They're
of...
in midair.
So Malady opting to get Shard right now already. Very interesting. Oh, the glimpse. Counteracting the blink. Kiyotaka is going to take a wall for his efforts, but he's able to walk to the cliff here. And the reel up onto Ace. He's in a horrible spot now as the brambles are placed, but Quinn on top of Nightfall. Nightfall gets a nice LSA with the Laguna Blade to follow, but the song is there and actually separating the rest of their team. So Quinn is all alone right now. Gets to the low ground though. He's at enough distance as Nightfall. Yeah, he'll have to back away. Tries for the last Dragon Slave, but it's not enough. Now Tofu healing up Quinn thanks to the Sunder. as Toronto Tokyo caught off guard. No primal split to work with as the Avatar's coming in from Kiyotaka. Almost deletes 2 members of Gaimin, but gets neither. And now he is stuck in a horrific position. And after all of that, this will be the first death.
This is insane, these fights. Nobody's dying.
That was so close.
Yeah. You can see Quinn very much prioritizing Nightfall on these, in the initiation of these fights. It's a big part of the pick here is you're one of those heroes that can really get on top of Lina and try to burst her. And for the time being, that'll do. But eventually, Nightfall will be able to outscale the Void Spirit's damage by just getting BKB Satanic. And then this play doesn't really exist anymore to the same extent. But for now, so far, so good for Gaimin. Still very curious to see how they're going to take this one in the later portion of the game, because it definitely does not feel like they will be able to snowball this to like a 30-minute win at this rate. That's just not going to happen.
No.
So how do you win this when we go down the stretch against some of these hard hitters?
Unless the shard from Disrupt is better than I think. I don't think I've ever seen it rushed this fast. I mean, that's usually when you just wait for Tormentor, and if you don't get it, it's like whatever. It's like, what is it, 5 extra strikes, you can put it on the ground.
Yeah.
Which, it only lasts for 4 seconds on the ground in that state, so I don't know how useful that is, but maybe for these like smoke plays. Or maybe it was purchased because they're going to go for Tormentor, and they want to get a better one, a better 50-50.
The real gambit. Buying a bad shard for the chance of getting a good shard.
There it is, the Demon Zeal.
Yeah, well, it's something for Tofu.
I mean, the other 50-50 was Darkseers, which, I mean, it's good. I wouldn't say it's crazy, though.
People tend to buy this now.
They do.
So,
but Darkseers also get really rich.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a Thunder Strike with extra strikes, like, is it more for farming then? Pushing a wave? Like,
I'm not sure. Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. This is not really something we generally see disruptors prioritize.
I think it's, is it cast range as well?
Yeah, it gives more cast range too.
That's a good cancellation of Blink Daggers.
Yeah.
Glimpse, Static Storm on top of the Brew that's going to force out all these TPs as Quinn and company actually find one potentially. Kiyotaka with the Avalanche, keeping Quinn in place. Terrorize is coming. They have the lockdown. Do they have the damage, though? The pipe is there. Basically shrugs off the Laguna Blade. Now Mira deleted. Kiyotaka with that shield rune burning down slowly. Now the song from Panto. I don't think Aurora are going to want to fight this.
Interesting ensnare target, choosing the Darkseer over the Void Spirit. That might actually cost him his life. I don't think that was the...
He's fine, but Toronto Tokyo might not be.
Yes, split.
He is spotted. Definitely does not want to use it here. Well, we'll have to. That's a big force from Gaimin.
And all of this was spawned by the fake go to begin with. The vacuum into Static Storm next to the Darkseer. They had 0% chance of killing Toronto Tokyo with those 2 heroes. And nobody else was nearby at the time. But they obviously anticipate that Aurora will respawn, and they were correct. They got themselves a nice little fight out of that. More space. You're seeing the items really come into play for Gaimin. The pipe from the Darkseer, they couldn't really get through it. They were trying to do some damage on the Void Spirit, but there's a lot to get through. There's the pipe.
Now Toronto Tokyo surely dead.
Yeah.
Reflection actually doing quite a bit now as Watson with that Radiance will claim him.
For the foreseeable future, how do you kill Gaimin's heroes? They're going to have pipe, mech, Void Spirit has his own barriers, Abaddon can give a barrier, and Terrorblade has Sunder and a magic barrier from Glimmer Cave. In classic Gaimin Gladiators fashion, this is this 20 to 30 minute timing where they historically win a lot of their games off of just coming invincible. And I do think that's my one concern right now for Aurora is whether Gaimin build a big advantage in the next 10 minutes. I think if they don't, this itemization starts falling off. But right now, they actually cannot kill them in a team fight and probably want to try to skirmish and split the map. And they'll find just that. There's that skirmish opener. Onto Ace.
Okay. This is a good amount of damage. Do they have the lockdown in addition? Absolutely. Ace pops pretty much everything to try to get out.
1 second
later. Not tanky enough. Quinn looking for Nightfall. Gonna take a Dragon Slave. Aether Remnant is gonna miss. He has another Astral to slow him down. Nightfall looking for a high five. Quinn will not reciprocate.
He's gonna high five the tower.
Big drama here in this game number 1. Do these players hate each other? As you can see, Ace frustrated.
He was exceptionally close to being saved by Tyr. It was like half a second away on a Sunder probably, and then maybe they turned that whole fight around. And of course, Ace's frustration generally comes from the fact that he died, and every single game he buys every item to not die. So he's like, how can I die? Probably in modern Dota history, the player that buys the average most tanky items. I can't think of another player.
Yeah. Nightfall gonna pop the BKB, gets the Laguna onto Quinn. It's got that barrier though. LSA. Product shield a little bit early there as Panto will get the ensnare. And the nice Bramble actually blocking off the majority of Gaimin. There's no way for Aurora to really close the gap here, it seems. Mira with the Yules. Silence from Quinn thanks to the Aghanim Scepter. Static Storm right now onto the Brewmaster. There's not going to be any follow-up, so he's going to be able to get his ult off at any time now. Avalanche onto Kiyotaka, onto 2 heroes. There's Malady. Eventually going to get chased down. So somehow, again, only 1 dies. And I think Roshan's got to be a big contest point here. This is something that it feels like to me that Gaimin need.
Neither
with a strat like this.
Neither team's good at killing it, though.
Yeah.
I guess the Lina is probably the best Roshan hero here, with Terrorblade being a support. Abaddon can be okay, I suppose. But yeah, neither team will just run into the pit and try to do it. Unless you want to use Song of the Siren as leverage, it's going to be tough. Toronto Tokyo changing his build. He was looking at Manta. He's now in the Boots of Travel first, so a little bit of change in mentality. Maybe recognizing that this kind of game will go the distance and wants to be greedier. Can't say with confidence that this is more GPM than getting a faster Manta, because that obviously allows you to split push. But maybe he's also frustrated in the fights that he's just not moving fast enough, and he's struggling to reach his targets and use the right primal split. This will be a nice help for just that. Now he's stuck with a weird build where he has a band of Elven skin that he doesn't even need to use or anything. He's going BKB next. Yeah. I might just sell it eventually.
Nice agility.
Panto denies 2 haste runes, according to Dota.
That's good.
I guess if both illusions hit it at the same time, it prompted twice. I've never seen this before.
It can't, though. It's just, like, surely it's different ticks, right? Unless sub-tick has been introduced.
Oh.
Then everything can happen twice.
I think as long
Peeker's
as
advantage has now come to Dota.
I think when the attack gets initiated, it counts it as a deny.
Mira faking out the Terrorize.
So as long as both illusions hit before, or the swing of the second illusion starts before the conclusion of the swing from the second, I think it'll say.
And I actually think that's been in the game for a long time, too.
I just don't remember ever seeing it.
Really? I
remember
like
seeing the text that somebody denied the rune while someone picked it up.
Well, it's the same thing, though,
yeah,
right?
Basically. But
Blink
I guess you
dagger.
could flood, if you really tried to organize your team, you could flood the entire left part of the screen with denied rune. If you send 4 Meepos,
that's
not
really
illusions.
important.
Yeah, that is.
Avalanche. Terrorize misses, I think.
Uh-oh.
Gets the ensnare on top with the Bedlam to follow. That is enough damage. Quinn is dead. Takes a while, but they have it. And now the Laguna Blade LSA onto Ace. Tossed up right on top of the Abaddon. And Gaimin Gladiators have to be careful here. Song of the Siren. I don't think they can be careful any longer. They've lost 2 cores. The rest are slept. Another Avatos combo. That's 4 dead for Gaimin. And it's going to be a full team wipe as Aurora lose 0. And now, surely, that's a Roche.
Seems like it was just a matter of time before Aurora find that fight. We've talked about the complications for Gaimin of stringing this together. They've done an admirable job in this earlier portion of the game. It's just, it seems that step by step, it will get harder. Aurora have the more obvious ways of initiating and setting up fights, and if they are successful at catching Gaimin slipping just once or twice, they can easily snowball the fights into more and more kills. We saw their infinite chase down possibility between Blink Toss and the Naga Song of the Siren. They kill everyone, take the road, and they're now in a very comfortable position. I do not think that Gaimin really have what it takes to kill a 6-slotted Lina this game.
Quinn is already about to half HP. He wants to get aggressive, though, as Ace shadowing him along with Tofu. Kiyotaka on the run. They don't have vision, or do they? Get the vacuum. BKB pop from Kiyotaka. He's super low, though. Avatos doing quite a bit, but the Greaves and Kiyotaka surely will be finished off eventually here. The BKB is still running, so the Glimpse does nothing. And he actually gets the blink off
No.
TP?
Oh
okay.
my god, that was
would've
close.
been so bad for Gaimin.
Wait, how did they see? Did they have a sentry in range? They have a sentry up there. That would have been... He might have been just on the edge of it. Do they have a gem? I did not see that. I think that
No,
was
they-
very, very close.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
But they do find the kill. At least something there for Gaimin for their efforts. A long dive. We're going to see the replay here. I'm just curious if he's not dusted, right?
He became visible there at the last moment, right?
Was it just the Aether Remnant?
I think the... Oh, that's true. That could be that too.
He doesn't have the... Oh, anyway. They got him. That's what matters.
Big kill.
We'll buy them a little bit of time. Of course, there's still the Aegis for another 4 minutes for Nightfall, so once Aurora are back up and running, imagine they will be looking for trouble. Toronto, Tokyo will maybe meet trouble without looking for it. He changed up his build again. Love to see it. He just cannot decide. Now he's going Octarine Core, and he will get silenced.
Yep, Static Storm is such a thorn in the side of the Brewmaster.
He's
Gets on the
tanky.
outskirts, though. Glimpse back, dead. Nicely played from Malady. So another pretty big kill for Gaimin.
Malady has the horsey. Boing.
Yep, onto the high ground TP.
Nicely played.
He's okay. Gaimin getting away with murder.
Yeah, another pick.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Toronto, Tokyo definitely regretting now not going to be giving.
Yeah. That's kind of been the story of this this last 10 minutes, right? Gaimin get a few small victories, and then Aurora get the one big one that just trumps and eclipses all of the little picks that Gaimin got. That singular 5-man teamfight win into Roche will be hard to catch up to with just ganks. As far as the economy goes, they're looking relatively close. I'm very curious what Tofu's going to do now, by the way. He has this Glimmer Cape. Is he buying a Force Staff with this? Does he have that on the way? With his fluffy hat? When you get the shard this early on Terrorblade, there is technically pivoting potential. We've talked about this with some supports transitioning into a core route.
Yeah.
It takes a while, but these games
Nightfall. He's spotted. Watson wants to start things out. Okay, blinks immediately.
Onto
Nightfall. Okay, they're trying to burn life number 1.
Mission
The vacuum
accomplished.
wall onto both him and Kiyotaka. He has the Daedalus, though, for the Lina. See if they can force his BKB out. Static Storm used, but it's just on the Dark Willow right now. Toronto, Tokyo able to get off his ult with the Song of the Siren. Laguna Blade onto Tofu, but Tofu can now sunder somebody if he's not careful. Avatos now from Kiyotaka. Ace getting burned up. Will pop the Greaves to try to stay alive, but gets brought back by the Pandas and into his grave. Tofu looks to be next on the list. The Naga is the trade for now as Watson put up in the air. And as Mira is getting initiated by Watson, will pop the ult to get back onto the ground. Nightfall's the big kill. The Terrorize comes out, though. As they're going to find Malady on the backside, but Nightfall getting pursued by Watson. They need this kill for Gaimin. Quinn finishes it. Aether Remnant now onto the Dark Willow. Big kills coming out from Gaimin Gladiators as well as the silence coming out now from Quinn.
Oh,
Toronto, Tokyo going to get hit by the Dissimilate. The Avalanche is going to slow them down. Watson still with that burning radiance. They're going to get him. And now they canceled the TP of Kiyotaka, and that's going to be a team wipe for Gaimin.
oh my god. Oh, I think Aurora must have had the wrong read there, right? They were TPing out their Brewmaster, and I think Kiyotaka says, stay, we can fight. He stays on Brewmaster, gets killed, and then Kiyotaka's like, never mind, we can't fight. He starts TPing out, and then he is the one to get canceled. I'm pretty sure that was Brew himself stopping the TP, right? It couldn't have been anything else. He had the Remnant for the second TP.
Yeah, I had the same impression, but...
So just a complete misread of the situation that they could win that fight. It wasn't even close.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So that's going to hurt them. They could have probably both just called it quits and got out, but a difficult judgment to make in the moment. That's big for Gaimin.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to get a
Nullifier for
massive
Quinn.
item. Yeah, that's the stuff on this hero. It's how people stay alive. All these defensive items, not going to matter now. You can deal with the Yules. You can deal with the Glimmer. So Willow. Oh.
Oh, he didn't hit the Nullifier in time. Gets the Yules off. Cursed Crown to follow. Mira gets vacuumed in, though. Terrorize, only going to hit one. Pantho with the Ensnare. Wants to go fishing, but the Greaves will get rid of everything. Toronto, Tokyo has used his ult as the Glimpse actually not going to go through because of the Nightfall BKB. Now trying to turn it around onto the Darkseer, so Ace cleaned up for Aurora.
Damn,
Still, a big primal split ult was used for this.
If anybody in the world knows how to counter Glimpse BKB, it has to be Nightfall, because he knows how it is to go the other way.
That's true. That would have been so funny
I mean,
if he
technically the same way.
He could have just Nightfalled, you know?
Yeah, that's true. They were offering up a free Nightfall without having to use BKB. They said, the choice is yours, my friend. And he said, I'd rather kill Darkseer, which...
debatable if that's the right choice, of course. Very even game, though. This is an exciting game, number one.
There's that Force Staff now for Terrorblade. So what's Tofu going to buy next? Is there an obvious Lotus value here? You can remove Brambles. You can remove Ensnare. You can reflect Laguna. It's quite decent. So perhaps that's a consideration.
Oh, Mira! Jesus.
Oh, and at least Nightfall didn't kill himself, too.
Well, he gets his shard at least.
Yeah, that's a good one. These fights are long and chaotic, so extra Brambles will be very welcome for Mira in 30 seconds, of course. Pays the price.
It's so funny how the pros still can't tell if they're going to die or not. That was actually not close. Like, he was so beyond dead. So funny.
What if they changed the Tormentor so there was like a blood curse? So when you kill him, somebody has to die to receive the shard. Whoever's the recipient dies.
I'm sure the cores would love that.
Yeah.
Support will always die for you.
That will incentivize the cores to buy their shards so they don't die when they kill Tormentor.
Yeah, I think nobody would go for Tormentor then. It's a guaranteed death. You can dodge it with Yules, though, maybe. No.
By Yules, you can Tormentor.
Or that new neutral item, 0.7 seconds. You
Yes.
time it.
That's right.
The self-exile. 2K lead for Aurora. So Octarine online for Toronto Tokyo. So the ults will come out a little bit more often. Obviously, the Static Storm is the bane of his existence. So the BKB will come out next. He's roughly halfway there. And now a smoke from Aurora. Watson has Basher. Gonna be going for the Abyssal.
Yeah, his job in the fights is to get on top of Lina as much as possible. Just blink in, start fighting Lina, make her uncomfortable, and they can run away. Setup for Aurora could be interesting. Quinn is gonna walk up the high ground and find nothing for now. Kiyotaka, though.
Kiyotaka shows himself. Silence to start. 8th the Remnant as well. They want to try to burn his BKB. They're gonna get it. Avalanche, but that's on an Abaddon. And now that's a full retreat from Aurora. Oh, the vacuum. Good cancellation onto Mira. So that'll be a freebie. Terrorize is used, but to no avail. Game may continue to be ultra aggressive. Gem is now on Malady, or purchased by Malady.
Yep. That's going to be Gaimin's biggest X factor. Super late game is going to be the X, surely. So it's far away. But eventually that is one of those items that has a tendency to win games. Disruptor Ags. 3,500 to go.
Nightfall gonna get initiated on. They get the Basher as well. Nightfall at half HP, but it popped the BKB. Now Laguna Blade onto Tofu. He's dead. Can't get the Thunder off through the BKB target. Now the Ensnare onto Watson. Will immediate Aphotic shielded out, and he wants to fight this. The Static Storm hits onto the nice vac wall. In addition, the focus onto Nightfall. The BKB is still up for Watson, so he can go through this Song of the Siren. Nightfall getting really low, gets the bash up as well. This is going to be really close. Gets glimpsed back. He's dead. Huge kill for Gaimin Gladiators. They're going to take out the Naga as well. Instant buyback, though, as Toronto Tokyo in the Primal Split. He's going to be going down here pretty soon if he's not careful. Finally gets back up. Mira with that. I don't think actually going to get the nice root onto the Abaddon. This is going to be his death. That is a huge kill, as Gaimin have gone a little bit too far. And now the Ensnare will follow onto Quinn with the damage coming out the Shadow Realm. That's enough damage to take out the second core here. So Aurora, despite losing Nightfall, end up defending successfully.
Yeah, the buyback advantage and getting Naga back into the fight is definitely a big help there. The initial trade of Terrorblade for Lina should be amazing, but they committed everything to kill Nightfall the once. And that means the other heroes on Aurora get free reign afterwards. This is not a one-core game where Lina is the only damage dealer. The tiny Does a lot of damage. So does Brewmaster if the fights extend long enough. Of course, the Willow Mira with a nice output of 2.6k in that fight. It all adds up. And snare reel in.
Reel in.
Good
Force
fight.
staff. Reel in still going. That spell is hilarious. Tofu will be controlled. No Thunder to come. And Roche, yep, just spawned now. Perfect
Radiant's
timing
top
for
tower
Aurora.
is under attack.
Yeah, Lena's about to spawn in. They'll maybe get started on it. This takes a little bit of time.
I think they're fine.
Yeah. They should be. Nightfall on the way.
Kiyotaka with the damage rune bottled, so they could fight right away if Gaimin were anywhere near, which they kind of are in the triangle, but all the goodies to Aurora.
Dire are scanning.
Very back and forth affair. Now an
Some
assault.
big item timing. Yeah, we're close to the longest game of the tournament. Just 1 hour to go. Preparing.
I will need a bucket
Yes.
for that one if we get there. Just a heads up, production.
Of course, we're talking about a fried chicken. I would I'll happily share that with you. If we could, that could be noted down for game number 2. We would really appreciate some.
The most unprofessional thing we could do on cast that would not get us fired. That's really the question. At another tournament, you drank on stream.
Yeah, but it was encouraged.
Yeah, that's even better.
It wasn't even my idea.
Damage rune for Kiyotaka. The smoke does pop, and Malady was aware. Finds the distance, though. I mean, he's a long ways out, but if he can get his Agnum Step, that's obviously a game changer. Well, they're going to find an Abaddon, but not the easiest one to get a back wall onto 2. The BKB from Kiyotaka is going to get Bissell Bladed, putting all their efforts onto him. He's not the one with the Aegis. He gets glimpsed back, but no. Is fine. Watson try to fight out these primal split Brewlings. There's a big astral step to follow as well, as that is the dead Brew. I thought he might have another one on the outskirts, but it's not the case. So Toronto Tokyo down and out for this fight.
Uh-oh.
Now the chase is on.
This is good.
5 versus 4. Quinn.
Panto's dead.
Panto is found. Not the most highly sought out kill.
It's a dieback.
That
It's
is
not
true.
bad.
90 seconds of no Naga. So this is a 5 versus 3 against this Aegis.
The reason this is so powerful is that has been one of Aurora's primary counterplays to the back wall plus disruptor combo.
Yeah, that's
if they pull it off immediately the next time it's ready, which is in about 30 seconds, they could think about poking their hits. I mean, they'll definitely poke their hits in the base without a doubt. They don't know for sure that Toronto Tokyo doesn't have buyback. They will try to force it and probably quickly realize it's unavailable, and maybe this could be very big. It's like a minute almost. With 5v3 all of a sudden from that mid-fight.
Yeah, they're going to go to the bot lane, it seems.
Yeah.
Watson will lead the way with that Curse of Avernus. Can Aurora defend? I mean, certainly they're going to lose one set here. 25 seconds for Toronto Tokyo.
This is 2 sets minimum.
Well, his ult is up. If they can try to delay this a bit. Curse Crown onto Watson. Just going to ignore it and continue to hit the building. So 1 lane for them. As Mira actually gets glimpsed back, but they don't have the vision to continue. Fortification ending now, and that is when Gaimin will... I was going to say they exit, but they get the vac wall onto 2. Gaimin now exiting, but Kiyotaka looking for the initiation to terrorize onto 3 heroes. Counter initiation. Nightfall already at half HP. Remember, he has that second life to work with. Killing off the illusions the time being. It looks like that'll be that. So 1 lane lost for Aurora, despite having the Aegis.
I really thought they were going to get a second lane there. I was pretty confident, as a matter of fact. I saw how quickly they took the first one. The death timers were still like 25-30 seconds, but the glyph plus some good defensive plays will stall out the push. It's also possible Gaimin could have pressed the issue a little bit more there, but the lack of information about buybacks, of course, does make that a little dicier with not really committing. And the Aegis factor, add all of those things together, and maybe the right call to not bite over more than you could chew.
Nightfall scanned out.
Scanning.
Gonna run into Ace here. He has Aegis for another minute. as Quinn going to start things out. They can burn this pretty quickly. Bramble from afar. Laguna Blade is used from Nightfall, though. Trying to stand his ground. Gets the LSA. Borrow Time is already active. He's going to be lifted in the air. There's another Vac Wall coming out. Life number 1 for Nightfall down. Panto looking for the potential song play here. Gets Avalanche, but yeah, does get it off. He's going to get bashed, though, as the BKB for Watson allows him to continue to attack. The glimpse back on a Nightfall. He didn't pop the BKB in time. Still finds the distance, though. As Quinn looking for a target. Kiyotaka the same. Toronto Tokyo in that primal split. Abaddon getting super low. Doesn't have the ag store, or I can't even speak right now. Nightfall taking a lot of damage, trying to run away. Quinn looking for a target again. Toronto Tokyo with the BKB outside of his primal split now, as Ace will fall. So this fight actually ends in favor of Aurora.
It feels so unpredictable what's going to happen. That was even a clutch Sunder from Ace onto Watson. And they still ended up losing that despite getting kind of the free Aegis plus secondary kill onto the Naga. But Nightfall, aside from the primary initiation, was unaccounted for the remainder of the fight. Just got to stand and deliver. Takes down a couple of targets.
This game is, it is so back and forth.
It feels like just, yeah, that's true. Quinn is very close to 25. Could be big to get the Dissimulate root, perhaps, this game. We'll see.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, both talents, you generally see the crit, but when you look at
the last time I've seen the other one.
It's just when you look at how the fights are going, I think this would be an interesting idea for the game. It's a lot about poking and prodding, heroes going in and out. It's certainly not as good as the old one, which was a stun. That one was insane.
Try to force some buybacks here. Aurora, high ground attempt. And they go through buildings fast with the Primal, Brewlings, and Kiyotaka. This is going to be a lane. Gaimin, I mean, this is essentially as even as it gets.
He goes for the crit.
Yep.
Unsurprising.
As expected.
I mean, it was expected. I was
as expected.
Just airing out the possibility of a little bit of a deviation when you look at the type of fights. I think the route could have been interesting, but I don't at all blame him for taking the standard selection here with the crit. Because Gaimin still, the way in which they win fights is very drawn out. I think he would love to be able to just burst a hero and kind of build an early advantage in the fight, and maybe this crit can push him over the edge if he itemizes for it. 9K lead for Aurora. It doesn't really feel like it matters.
No, I don't
honestly
think it matters anymore.
This is just a matter of who gets the good initiation and who gets to cast all their spells and get the counterplays out. Naga Siren tends to do well in these situations, but the biggest upside for Gaimin has been their just ability to outlast the damage through all of their auras and magic resist. It's been very valuable, but of course when this game goes late enough, the right-click damage starts really kicking in for the side of Aurora. There goes another Tormentor. Panto will get the healing song.
Okay.
Could maybe make a case for buying that this game, honestly. Like, maybe you should have got it 10 minutes ago. Look at how these fights played out. The heal would have been very welcome a lot of the time. And now he has it for free, so plan on something else. Currently eyeing up Guardian Greaves, trying to match the auras of Gaimin.
Now smoke from Gaimin.
Radiant are scanned.
Roche could spawn in 10 seconds at the earliest. I can say Kiyotaka has not had a very Kiyotaka game. Very solid. 10-4 right now.
Yeah, not popping off one way or the other.
Yep.
What would you call that? If popping off is doing well, then popping on must be the opposite, surely.
Like popping a zit.
Oh, makes sense. Oh, Outworld Staff should be very good against Disruptor now. Does that work? Against Glimpse?
How does
against
Astral work?
I think Astral you used to arrive at the Glimpse location, but I think you don't anymore. It's one of those things I believe got changed at some point, but
All right, that's your job to pay attention to that very minute detail.
yes.
The self-exile counter to Glimpse.
Versus Glimpse. Yep.
4-man smoke for Aurora.
Tofu about to complete Axe on his Terrorblade, so he'll get that AoE Fear. Interesting.
That's pretty cool. You do not see that on support terribly very often. I
feel like he could have bought a Scotty instead.
You'd rather have him. Oh, that's a bigger Ags, though. Malady. Okay.
That's the really big one.
This is game changer. Top 10 Ags in the game easily.
Mainly just looking at the trajectory of this game, perhaps Tofu could have got the Scotty and had a teamfight impact with the meta, and then eventually if he gets one more item, then it gets really interesting. He already has the Pike, so...
And this is where it gets scary, potentially for Aurora. The Static Storm muting items. They're not going to be ready for this.
Nightfall used Satanic on the Roche.
Yes, he did. Has the Roche at half HP, the toss back. Oh my god, Quinn is getting melted. The song comes out. Okay, resets it for Quinn to some degree. He's going to get brambled on the way out, though. As they're going to apply all their pressure. A double toss back. A huge cleave coming out from Kiyotaka as well. Gaimin lose 2 right off the bat. Watson gets off his ult, but he is all alone as Ace tries to retreat, but the right clicks from Nightfall will rip him a new one. As Quinn left all alone to try to take out a support, and he can barely even do that. The Assimilate is there as the Primal Split illusion, or the Brewlings are used to help take out Watson. That was a disgusting fight, and still Quinn cannot deal with Mira. That is not a good sign for Gaimin. As he tries to exit, the Avalanche comes out. Doesn't have a TP. He's spotted, he's hexed, and Mira comes out on top here. A full team wipe for Aurora. That double tossback was disgusting. Oh my god, the damage.
And it's the perfect counter. This is why Naga used to be the pick against Disruptor. They're going for this Static Storm, immediate song, blinks into the entire enemy team. And this is your one big combo that you're hoping to win with, is that Static Storm.
Toss. Wow.
But
wow. And Quinn wasn't even a part of this fight. He tried to get a straggler and couldn't even find him in the end.
For all intents and purposes, that fight is over when Song gets cast.
Oh, for sure.
You cannot allow this to be set up in this fashion for Gaimin.
That was so sick.
If you do want to go for the Lina there, I definitely agree with that choice. You have to pop all your BKBs. All one of them. Yeah, that's kind of that's the secondary problem, of course.
Yeah.
If Quinn had a BKB, they could have killed him, I think.
Oh, he actually did. He used the self-exile.
Did it work?
Yeah, to dodge Glimpse.
All right. There you go. I told you I'd pay attention.
Yep. Good. You didn't even do your job.
I was looking at Quinn's inventory to check for potential BKB, but...
Second lane for Aurora. Still 4 minutes. 4.5, in fact, with the Aegis. Gaimin are going to have to try to defend. The buyback is available for Quinn. 20 seconds if he wants to wait it out, but the buildings will surely melt. He's going to use it. As Watson pops the BKB, the fear comes out, not really doing too much. The song counteracting most of it. Mass BKB Exodus for Aurora. Nightfall gets to the high ground. Toronto Tokyo pops Refresher. They're able to go again as a Static Storm comes out onto Nightfall. That is going to be death number 1 for him.
Refresher song.
Yeah,
he has
second song, disgusting. And Aurora, the Terrorize, is going to come out shortly. Not really doing too much as the Abyssal Blade finds one. But look at the control onto Watson. He has to use his ult to stay alive. Now getting kited. Feels like all game long he has been kited over and over again. And now they can just right-click right through him. Easy kill. Buys back into the game as Ace follows suit. And Aurora can still stick around. They're so healthy thanks to that song. They get the Megas as Tofu gonna get stunned up by the Cursed Crown. And I think they want to try to finish this game right here, right now, and why not? Tofu, nice Sunder, though, as Kiyotaka still exiles but dies shortly after. Now Watson with the basher on Mira. This feels like it's their main target in these fights, and they can never kill Mira. Double buyback now for Gaimin, as there is a Rapier picked up from Kiyotaka.
He backbought Rapier. Okay.
All right, that's one way to lose the game potentially. Is Vakwall onto 3 now, Toronto Tokyo. Doesn't have the ult to work with, so they finally take out Mira, the pesky Dark Willow, and now Nightfall also will drop. Double kill for Watson. Toronto Tokyo TP's out. This is actually potentially scary for Aurora.
This is officially losable.
Why would you? Why?
Kiyotaka, baby.
Yeah, that's all you need to say.
There it is.
That is actually all you need to say.
I think that was already good enough for Aurora.
Of course.
You got Megas.
Of course it was good enough.
They were fine.
There's no question. All right, so Gaimin Obviously, the buybacks are a bit of an issue. They're going to get a Divine of their own in Watson.
Yeah, and Quinn now has a BKB, so they can actually kill during the Song of the Siren now. This is what I was looking for before with that Roche Pit fight. Now it becomes a reality. If you catch someone in the Static Storm, you pop BKB on Void Spirit, you pop it on the Abaddon, and you just all in the Lina, who will probably be forced to use buyback here.
I would assume so.
They're going to
set one buyback from Dark Willow.
But now Watson arrived.
There
you go.
Buyback for Lina. Does Gaimin exit? They're going to get the racks. Kiyotaka with the Avalanche. Laguna Blade to follow. LSA as well, but the Force Staff going to save him. Abaddon getting super low. Finally, the ult goes off, and now he gets lifted in the air. Meanwhile, the Primal Brewling's actually getting pretty low. Toronto Toki does have to be a bit careful. Watson, full HP now. Nightfall going to get glimpsed away. Tofu with the fear, actually putting Toronto Toki in a precarious spot. He's going to pop the BKB for himself.
Yes, Refresher still.
Still all alone. Kiyotaka trying to go on top of Tofu. The support Terrorblade will die. No buyback now. Static Storm onto Nightfall, but he already popped the BKB, and there's the song from Panto. The full reset for Aurora. Terrorize on top, a little bit too early though, and a big avalanche. Quinn is extremely low, will Astral Step. They've already lost 3. He tries to exit, but he dies while TPing, and the GGs are called. Aurora taking number 1.
Yeah, and what a way.
They have a better chance this time around. That's what the panel thinks.
They're pulling out all the stops, right? They're playing Quinn on his Storm. They're playing the 7 and 1 Undying in this tournament. Kunkka has looked great, has a very high win rate as well. That will, however, be played by Ace in the offlane. I feel like mostly we've seen the mid and carry position, but of course this hero can go to all the roles. Drow has also seen a resurgence, so plenty of good heroes where Gaimin are coming from. And my biggest concern for Aurora is dealing with the Storm. The panel was talking about that too. Do you have the lockdown? We'll see. Malady.
Yep,
Nightmare up.
Let's get down to half HP. Gets the Nightmare off though. Don't think anything's going to turn into a First Blood as Mira gets to the high ground. Well, I say that. They're going to continue to pursue, it seems. I mean, Malady, very good level 1 hero. Blood Grenade comes out again onto Panto. Doesn't have Nightmare for 5 seconds, and this actually looks like it will be First Blood potentially. Pops the Fairy Fight out of the cover of the Tier 2. Uses Nightmare on himself, and the Ether Shock. Still not enough. My goodness, as close as it gets. Still no First Blood.
And after everything is set, they get 4 bounties. Wow, that was such a long chase for Gaimin. They completely compromised their map positioning to get the runes. And oh, if you're on Aurora's side, you're going to be very happy with that start. Not only did you dodge a bullet on Bane, but you got all the wisdoms would be nice too. But all the bounties.
Yeah, we'll see.
Mira immediately accepting that this top lane is not going to be played normally. He will be pulling the wave here on his techies. So
yeah, let's talk about tech. Why is this hero not picked?
I don't know why it is picked.
No, okay.
This game.
Why is it so bad then? Malady, gonna take a blast off. We'll be able to walk away as Quinn and Kiyotaka. This is going to be a very, very spicy mid-lane matchup.
He does have Timber Chain. Malady must be dead here, surely.
Blood Grenade applied. Toronto Tokyo is there to finish the job. It ends up being a trade of supports, but like the panel was saying, Timbersaw can rip right through the Undying.
I always have a hard time placing techies, is my honest answer. Like, it's one of those heroes where you need to play it a lot, I think, to really appreciate when it's good in a draft and how to activate it. The main thing I'm looking for as a lane partner when I'm playing with techies is that I have somebody who can burst with him during the stun, so that's nice at least with Timber.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they had Timber on their minds immediately when they picked the techies and what they picked it against. Maybe they like the matchup against Undying. You have very high range. You do decent damage. Might be part of it. It's not an obvious techies game, at least as far as I'm concerned. One secondary upside is the enemy's inability to break mines. Generally, the mines work worst against heroes that can just low commitment remove them, like illusion carries or summoned units. There's none of that either.
Well, they also have 2 very, I mean, not that Techies attacks particularly fast, but 2 very long-range attackers for Tombstone. Could have something to do with it, potentially. It's Quinn.
I think if you wanted a Tombstone killer position 4, you pick Snapfire, right?
Yeah, but then you're stuck with Snapfire.
She's not bad, is she?
I don't know. We haven't seen her, right?
I think Snap, in theory, would be quite good this patch, but...
When have you been right?
That's right.
Just happy to see the hero, Cinderin, all right?
Yeah,
For once, I'm trying to be positive, and you're shitting all over it.
No, I think it's fine.
Why do you hate it so much?
Okay, I hate it. Very biased against Texas. Oh, Mira.
Ooh, Quinn. 40 HP, lives through the swash. He is up in the CS by a bit at the moment.
He needs to be careful with sticking around. Kiyotaka has another salvo of spells in 3 seconds. He looks like he's setting up for it.
Yeah. It's not going to be enough, though.
With the Tango running and the Fairy Fire.
Very volatile matchup here.
For sure. It's also volatile later on in the game. It's an interesting one. Storm is one of the best heroes at catching the Pango.
Try
but
for
at
it
the same
again.
Time,
Not enough mana. 40 mana off.
Quinn did the math.
He certainly did.
Time for Water Rune. This would be a huge one to take away. Panto is on the way, but I think he's too late.
You know, gets the Nightmare.
Narrowly.
Quinn bottles it up. Still going to be pursued, though. Kiyotaka chasing. Double shield crash. That's enough. As Mira coming from the other side, the sticky bomb applied to Tofu. And Kiyotaka, he's going to get shackled under the cover of the tower. Mira's going to have to get some aggro off of it, but he's not going to do it in time. Okay, he does. Just barely. Tofu in the cover of the trees now. Going to get the Hex off. Sticky bomb available again. And that'll be enough.
All right, he also has a healing salve on the Techie, so he can actually stay in the fight here. If he salves up, he could choose to linger in the area. Kiyotaka doesn't need to go back to base since there's a secondary Water Rune for him. So he's able to fight once more. Mira is being scouted out by 2 melee creeps that are randomly following him. It's a very interesting situation.
I wouldn't say it's random necessarily.
Fair enough. Touche.
What do you think of the Watson Drow pick?
It's solid. You have a good laning partner in the Undying. The heroes that you wanted to counter at the time were Lina and Pango. Drow has one of the better heroes against Pango. Massive damage.
They
and
get
they
Quinn.
did exactly what I was saying. Yeah.
That is unfortunate for Gaimin, but they at least get Toronto Tokyo in the top lane.
Without a doubt, a good trade for Aurora, though.
Yeah, Quinn, second death for him, and bigger on top of that is that his TP is on cooldown for 23 seconds, so we'll have to either wait or walk back the old-fashioned way. Mira gonna be surrounded. Will be the death of him. Should mention that he did take the facet that makes Blast Off stronger.
Easily the highest win rate facet on this hero.
And the least interesting.
Yeah, it's probably the reason this has so much of a higher win rate than the other ones is that people don't go stupid builds when they take this one.
I mean, the other ones sound cool. I can't blame people, honestly.
It's kind of like with the Clockwork one. The armor one just has easily the lowest win rate because then you get baited.
Who doesn't want to eat chainmails? Kiyotaka. Well, he has the Rolling Thunder at the ready. Quinn's still level 5. Malady. He grouped up with Tofu as well. This has turned into a tri-lane, it seems.
I mean, current Dota is actually so fascinating, the way you play around mid.
I like it.
All it took was the change to shovel.
Well, that's not true.
No, it's not.
The bottle from the courier, I think, is huge. Or not just the courier, but being able to TP bottle refill, all of that.
All of those changes add up to putting a lot more emphasis on winning your mid lane.
It's funny how these like little things. I mean, that was considered a bug, I believe. Like really early on, they just kept it in. It's like a feature. Okay, it's funny how stuff like that can have such huge impact on the game. But I definitely prefer it the way it is now. As Ace. Oh man, the Wisdom Shrine, Panto. Oh, Kiyotaka. All right, they're going to get the Laguna Blade onto Malady. He's going to get dropped right off the bat. Kiyotaka with his ult as well. Quinn trying to force Panto out of the circle. Success. And Quinn will be the gladiator that wins. As Panto eventually drops. So a good contest from Aurora, but Gaimin shut it down.
Yeah, if you get Tombstone off there, it's tough. I think Aurora with the right call there to back off afterwards. It was all right. You know, the 1-for-1 trade, you force rotations, kind of inconsequential overall. And that is it's good news for Gaimin when Pango makes that rotation and you don't lose it, because Pango generally one of the best heroes in Dota at fighting that 7-minute wisdom. Rolling Thunder is so incredibly powerful at that point in time. Blast of up top onto Watson.
TP's coming for him. Actually pops a huge wand as Ace take a whirling death to the face as the Timber Chain mistimed a bit, and now he's in trouble. Toronto Tokyo getting off the Chakram again, trying to exit, but Malady is there with a decay. Panto was trying to finish off Watson, but Malady with the heal. So a lot being shut down by Gaimin as the TP is successful here.
You're a trusty mate.
Panto he gets the nightmare. Okay. What's the play here exactly?
Yeah, what's the end game on this play?
All right, gets X'd.
Okay.
All right, he wastes a lot of time. That's what we'll call that.
Yeah.
And he makes them use extra mana on the gate because you cancel it, right?
Yeah, now he went through the second time. Now he's out of my... Oh, my God.
Nightfall. Runs right into Ace. Okay, Laguna Blade to the back of the head with the LSA to follow. I think Ace just walks away.
Precious bounty.
He's fine. All right. Interesting engagements.
Dude, cue the circus music. What was that? That's so funny. Stops the gate, then he comes through the gate, and Aurora spring the trap. They're like, yes, this is what we set up for, and then it doesn't even work. I mean, they send him back to base. I think all in all, that's probably a net positive play for Panto. It's just
Panto.
a funny one. Yeah.
Yeah.
One spell available from the Lina should be enough. No mana. But
I would think so.
the attacks will do it. Actually, the range creep getting the last hit. Well done.
Nice one, bro.
Yeah. Thanks for the help. We do love the creeps until we don't.
Toronto Tokyo taking the twisted testicle facet.
Yes.
Seems to be the more common one, right?
No, I think the more common one is twisted chakra.
Okay. That's what I said.
Yeah, sorry, English is my second language.
And yet you speak it better than me.
Well, at least I used the correct word.
You talk a bit low on mana as reinforcements arriving for Gaimin.
10-minute rune time. Means 3v3 mid.
No. Nightmare from Panto. It's illusions only, so Malady will just snag it. Shackle. Already the shield crash, though. The blast off is there as Tofu gets healed up. A nice soul rip, and now the tombstone is placed. The silence applied now to Kiyotaka, getting off his ult, but no. It actually does go off, and he dies inside of it.
Yeah, that's a worst case scenario. Now he doesn't have it when he comes back to life. Gaimin with a good collapse there. They don't get the rune for Quinn, but they do get the rune for themselves, and they activate their Undying in the pressure of the mid tower, and now onto Panto.
Oh, yeah. That is a lot of damage. The early group up from Gaimin Gladiators. We've seen it time and time again. Now they have the snakes available, too. So Tofu and company, I'm actually not sure they needed this, but they will take the tier 1 either way. Yeah. Oh, and they're going to see a little juicy stack here as well.
Delightful. Quinn will munch this up. Oh, even stacking the camp for them. How nice. Very wholesome. Toronto Tokyo wisely backing out here. But is he actually backing out or is he initiating? He's a little bit hesitant which of the two he wants to do. He will chill. But definitely so far so good for the side of Gaimin Gladiators this game. This is the start you're looking for with this lineup. It's not a massive lead in terms of gold, but you are activating your lineup. You're bringing your Undying to stuff. This hero is very one-dimensional. He really wants to win his lane and then look for a specific type of team fights. And so far, they've managed to Malady involved in every single of their kills. He's 2-2-6 in an 8-kill game for Gaimin. And you would imagine the next thing Malady really wants to do is to go through the gate and get the bottom tier 1. Might take a little while before they make that play. The worst thing for Undying is just if nothing happens for 15 minutes and you're just there.
Yeah.
So this hero's identity is very much about fighting.
Panto denying a rune, but he might suffer the consequences. Gets off the Nightmare. Oh, actually, ends up being reciprocated onto Quinn.
Quinn?
Not intended, but this should be a freebie for Gaimin.
Actually, Tombstone that.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that's going to be a free gold influx for somebody.
If anybody can access it, but either way, then it's a nice cooldown to know is unavailable for about a minute for the side of Aurora.
That is a cool model, though, I have to say.
Yeah.
Tombstone looks sick.
Middle tower is under attack.
Quinn back into a very familiar spot, the enemy triangle.
Yeah, gonna go for Witchblade, standard stuff. Could have made a case for Orchid this game. You're playing against Bane, you're playing against Pango and Timber. All these three heroes hate being silenced. But he is prioritizing the scaling aspect of the Mage Slayer. Or excuse me, of the Witchblade.
Okay. All right. Really wanted an encore of that screeching sound.
God,
Thank you.
I love Bane. Imagine being the person that makes that voice line in the studio.
That would be, yeah, that's awesome.
Radiant's
Unironically,
bottom tower
yeah,
is
not
under
even being
attack.
sarcastic.
I think voice acting is actually really fun.
Quinn's still smoked up. Not going to run into Nightfall here. Panto, level 6.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Looking for the first grip of the game.
Dire's middle tower is under
I mean,
attack.
the one thing that Aurora do have in spades is burst.
They have so much damage in this game. But they don't have the most catch, and that's where Gaimin can kind of play around them well.
Yeah.
With their Storm, with their Kunkka tankiness, draw with a Pike. Actually, Watson is going to rush Ags. This has not been the most popular build, I think, to go Dragonlance Ags immediately, rather than getting, say, Manta on the way or Pike fully completed.
Definitely good against the Timber Saw, that's for sure. As, oh, they actually get the Hex initiation. Nightfall in a lot of trouble. Double TP coming. A nice Nightmare. Going to block the damage from the boat into a grip now as Nightfall tries to walk out. Looks like he might fall. There's a big blast off onto 2. Toronto Tokyo in the midst of things will be stunned up. Aurora's already lost 2 though, as here comes a shield crash from Kiyotaka. Deletes Quinn. Tofu likely next on the list, although Watson, we've seen this before, doing a lot of damage onto the Rolling Thunder target, but just not enough in the bank yet. So a 3 for 3.
Bottom tower has fallen.
2 cores dead for Gaimin, and same for Aurora.
That's good enough for Gaimin, though. Once again, they get the tower, they bring Undying. At the same time, it was probably possible to get a better result than that with slightly better execution, but heads-up play from Panto made that a lot harder than Gaimin were anticipating. The Nightmare delayed things a lot. If Kiyotaka could have somehow showed up 5 seconds earlier, they might have team-wiped them and only lost 1 or 2 heroes in total.
I mean,
It's a
so
3
far,
for 3.
just very early game, but also, or that fight, I should say, but also game 1. It feels like one team is winning a fight, and then somebody comes at the last second and turns it. Like, we've seen it several times now already. Which kind of interesting.
Which you could argue is a flaw, right? If it was perfect, you would have the players there at better time.
They're just min-maxing their farm, you know?
Yeah. It takes time to TP in, you know? It's not obviously that black and white that, oh, enemy team's fighting, we should always be 5. But the Pango's arrival was definitely a little bit later than I would have liked to see. If you're TPing in, you want to try to let Pango TP at least first or second, because he has so much impact. But Aurora, it's one of those situations. You have a little bit of information. You TP in the supports to help. Then you're like, oh, it's a full-fledged fight. I will join on my core as well.
Yeah.
And by no means did Mira not have a major impact there. He got a 3-man blast off and put his mines down. He did everything he could. But it is, of course, going to be the Pango that's the real cleanup crew.
I'm interested what Toronto Tokyo itemizes after Ags. So Ags is, you know, you get your ridiculous tankiness. Problem with it is, of course, it is dispellable, which at some point I'm assuming somebody's just going to buy a Yule, says Toronto Tokyo. Speaking of which, we'll take a Hex into a nothing. Mira misses the blast off. Quinn, all right, thinking better of it.
Anyone want to hit a spell?
Yeah, what do you want to see on this hero? Because you talked about lack of catch. Like, I feel like maybe second item is too early, but like a sheep stick on this hero at some point would be pretty big.
On which one of them?
Timber, Panto. Gets initiated on. Looks like they're going to clean him up as a tombstone is placed, but
Oh, it's just going to be a clean disengage here from Mira, but they get the ban. Hex on Timber. It's definitely going to be part of his full build, but I don't know if you can buy it second. I think you have to buy BKB along with your Ags this game so you can stay in the fight. The problem is, even with Aghanims, you're going to get kited and controlled a lot through Shadow Shaman, Kunkka, random stuff, Gust. So I'm assuming he will go Ags BKB, but then I kind of like it third. Or he goes Ags Shiva and he just feels invincible and just stays in the center of the fight. But I don't think you're invincible here with a Shiva necessarily. If they get a dispel for the Axe at least.
Oh, Kiyotaka. Yeah,
Nice
it's actually going to be a super easy kill. Gaimin get a big one.
Yeah, they're definitely progressing this game quite well.
Now
Melody is gonna.
He gets off his ult, and now he's less juicy of a target. depending on your perspective, of course. Really love Undying.
Yeah.
Used to not be that big of a fan. You remember casting with me and we'd make fun of how bad the ult was? It's like, oh, he pops this useless thing.
Yeah, it's
finally
come a
made it
long
good.
way.
They finally made it good.
Then they gave him Grab Ally,
Oh yeah, that's the best.
and then they renamed it.
It will always be Grab Ally.
Yeah.
Don't care what happens. Yeah, why would they rename it? Of all the things.
Because you kept saying Grab Ally.
Who cares? That's
Well.
fun. Don't take away people's fun. It's a video game, for God's sake. And there's a Mjolnir for Nightfall. We might have some action down here. Toronto, Tokyo. He will get hexed, but they get the stun. Oh my God, Quinn just gets deleted. They were waiting for him. A big bait coming out from Aurora. Shield Crash Laguna. Okay, interesting target. They'll get the roster regardless here. Trying to take out the Tombstone. It is
Nice
taking out the Nightmare. Blocks the Kunkka damage again. As Toronto, Tokyo getting to the high ground. You can see the hypothermia going to work on him. Not getting too much regen, but the chase will continue. Kiyotaka still had his ult. Watson applying a lot of pressure to Nightfall. Will pop the Essence Ring as Kiyotaka burning all the mana of Watson. He has no other members that close to him. Panto can't do too much here. That might just be the end of the fight. You can see the lack of catch from Aurora, but they were waiting in the wings, Cinderin.
Yeah. It's also cool to see Kiyotaka go Yuos this game on the Pango. That's not been... I think that might be his first game of the tournament that he does this. Interesting solution to the Kunkka, a defensive tool against the Gust of the Drow, and is like multi-purpose.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of Pangos are... and the fact that this is Kiyotaka doing this is crazy, but they're a little too greedy, I feel like, at times. As he gets taken down to half HP, Panto. And the Yules does go off. Kiyotaka will get the swash. Nice Nightmare. He'll immediately take it off, and Quinn will expend a lot of mana to try to finish off Kiyotaka. Shield Crash is there. He'll be able to exit.
Panto's fighting is exceptional this game so far in the Bane. All his Nightmares are super high impact. He times them perfectly to block key damage.
Mira. Shaded on again. A nice Nightmare yet again into the Gust, though. This will be the death of the techies, or Funny Bomb Man, if you ask Slacks.
Yep.
And now the Aghanim Scepter finally finished. Feels like he's working that forever for Toronto, Tokyo.
It's a big upgrade, though.
Oh, yeah.
There's no removal currently on the Dire team. Nobody's eyeing it up either in general, so he will have a nice time with this for a
He'll
while.
be the target to start. The Twisted Chakram comes out.
Tower is under attack.
So they're going to get the X now. Boat at the ready. Malady uses his ultimate along with the Tombstone, but now Gaimin kind of disengaging a bit as Kiyotaka shows off the Rolling Thunder. Toronto Tokyo can be trying to take out the Tombstone, but it's going to be healed up, and now this Timbersaw is melting with the hypothermia, and the boat is coming for Kiyotaka. 2 big kills for Gaimin.
What a bait!
They fake back and then re-engage and destroy.
It's like a tombstone. It's a level 1 tombstone. And the Timbersaw alone stands and hits it for 10 seconds, and then it gets healed, and his shield runs out. He effectively killed himself going for a tombstone that wasn't doing anything. And that's massive for Gaimin. They get 2 kills on 2 cores and a tier 2 for that? What a dream.
I mean, can you blame him? That Tombstone looks real juicy, Cinderin. It's very menacing.
It's not Timber's job to destroy that, and it definitely is not his job to do it while reactive armor is running. Like, you gotta get something out of that.
Radiant
Oh, look
are
at this, though.
scanning.
Aurora.
Radiant's top
smoking,
tower is under attack.
Despite having 2 heroes in the fountain. They're
Might
nowhere
bear
near.
fruit. They're looking for Quinn.
Gaimin. They're going to get the Tormentor. Tofu gets the shard.
Upgraded foul play.
And there's a shield room top as well that Gaimin will secure, so... The only thing that Aurora gets out of that smoke is some wards.
I think they would have much rather have the upgraded tombstone.
Panto. Oh, Horsey. Tofu. Oh my god, he actually gets to the other side of the trees, but the bombs are there. Meanwhile, blast up on the other side. The Rasta eventually will be taken out. The Yules is going to keep him alive a little bit longer. Quinn focusing on Kiyotaka. This is a big kill. Tidal Wave. Gaimin Gladiators get a big one again. It's only at the cost of Tofu.
I wonder if... Did he just buy the shard now on Pango, or did he have it in that fight? Because I feel like roll-up could have changed that drastically. Maybe he didn't have it.
Not sure.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
It's another kill onto Kiyotaka, his 4th of the game. Nightfall is, of course, progressing nicely, but not far ahead of Watson's Drow. And Drow Ranger is still, it is one of the monster late gamers of Dota. When you get to that 5th, 6th slot, an unaccounted for Drow will 3-shot cores in the late game sometimes. So you really got to be careful you don't give Watson too free of a game. So far, so good for him, 6-0-4.
Yep.
Planning the Roshan now too.
Top tower has fallen.
Their lineup is incredible around there. Got the Tombstone, you got Shaman Ward, you got Kunkka, Flash Golem. And they'll get it. Aurora either uninterested or unaware. And either way, the outcome's the same. Aegis on the Drow. Okay. Thought they were going to put it in.
High ground time.
It definitely isn't.
For Gaimin it is.
Well, okay. We'll see. I'm not a big believer in them going high ground yet. But maybe. Maybe they find a way. They'll definitely take bot tier 2. If they find a pick, then possibly Kiyotaka is roll up.
Yeah, he does have roll up. The grip finding the Rasta. Torrent is coming though, along with the boat. Rasta dead again, but it's going to be at the cost of what? Panto drops, so that's a 1-for-1. Techies follows suit. Kiyotaka in a 1 versus 4 right now, but the Laguna Blade finding Quinn. He's at half HP, zips away. He's fine. Kiyotaka, now he's kind of stuck in a precarious spot. And that shield crash not going to do too much.
They need
That's
Timber.
the death of him and the death of the tier 2.
They need Timber in the middle of these fights. Like, if these fights are going to last this long, you absolutely have to have Toronto Tokyo put some pressure. That one was way too easy for Gaimin.
Looks quite tired. Used to playing first series of the day.
Yeah. Just to getting a freebie against Talon to warm up.
Gaimin sporting the 6K lead. And as per norm for the side of Gaimin Gladiators, when they're having an advantage, the towers fall fast. There's only one tier 2. It is mid. And that is exactly where Gaimin are applying pressure now.
This time around, if Aurora were to fight, they would be all 5 heroes set up in position. And Shaman is actually top, so this would be a 5-on-4, but Aurora don't know this. And they just have to let this one go. Nice attempt there from Ace with the Torrent. If that connects, he can maybe find a tidal wave on the techies, but no cigar.
Toronto Tokyo talking about how important his role is in this game. Goes for the Kaya, and now the BKB just about finished. And of course, there's a Yules on Tofu to dispel the reactive armor Ags. That's what the BKB is essentially for here.
Panto hates that creep. He's gonna nightmare it up, misclick. Happens even at this level. But I will say a sleepwalking creep looks kind of funny. There's the BKB, so okay. Now he should really be confident on the Timber. You're still tanky enough when you're in BKB and reactive armor that the Drow cannot deal with you, and none of the other heroes do any damage to you, so we'll at least give him that window of opportunity. Gaimin, though, will get the initiation onto Panto, the dream target.
Yeah, but the grip onto Quinn. Laguna to follow.
Remember,
they're
he
able
does
to
not
disrupt
have the
it, though. Yeah, he's super low, going to the south now. Not a whole lot of mana. Toronto Tokyo is slowed by these zombies, and it looks like Quinn will survive. Oh, actually, Nightfall getting caught in a horrible spot now. He drops to the deck along with Mira. That's 3 dead for Aurora, and it's high grounding time.
Wow, it's...
That's what the Aegis is for, Cinderin.
Sometimes Dota is just a game of like 2%. Like if Quinn dies there, that's such a different fight, but he manages to find a way out with the haste rune. Aurora were missing the last little piece there, and now Gaimin in a commanding position.
Big ol' zip onto Toronto. And he gets off the reactive armor. Ags is getting X. Nightmare to try to disrupt it. It works. Gets gusted, though. He does blow up, and now he's susceptible with the hypothermia stacks. Teammates don't want to stand near. Toronto Tokyo dead for 50, and the high ground has arrived for Gaimin. 1 minute on the Aegis, they're going to get plenty.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, 40 seconds.
And the crazy thing is Watson is not even, I mean, obviously he's important right now, but his farm can get so much bigger in this game.
This has worked out wonderfully for Gaimin. 10,000 advantage gained with an Aegis. It's pretty rare we see that go to 5-digit.
Yeah.
And they're not done yet. Bottom lane. This is kind of already last stand territory for Aurora. 28 minutes in. Quinn is back up to full resources in spite of that fight just happening. Nice little find there from Mira, but can't get the job done against Tofu Shadow Shaman.
Tombstone placed ahead of time. Rolling Thunder. As they're going to delete the techies to start things out, Kiyotaka not finding any connection. In fact, he's already at half HP. He just gets destroyed. Watson. I mean, the Drow versus the Pango can sometimes be pretty bad in the late game scenarios, which it's 28 minutes in, so I don't know if I call this late game. This is a second lane for Gaimin as the Aegis will expire here. Watson back to full mana. And I don't see why they need to stop.
No, they're going to keep going here. Quinn up to 24 galvanized stacks, so he's going to consistently have the resources needed to continue fighting on and on. And the third lane, about to be another 30-minute game today. That's really been the theme for most games. Pretty one-sided.
Yeah.
This one is no different. Gaimin Gladiators will get the 29-minute mega creeps.
And they will exit in time. Aurora not even trying to defend there without the 5. Yeah, look at that. 13K advantage, 7 buildings. That was the first Aegis, right? I believe so.
Yeah. True that. They caught Megas with Aegis number 1. When does that impact?
Oh, the grip. Finding the Kunkka. They have the burst. Big zip from Quinn. Trying to delete Panto. He cannot. He's actually close to out of mana right now. Toronto Tokyo pops his reactive armor. Quinn with the follow-up BKB. Kiyotaka already with a couple hypothermia stacks and now going to focus onto Toronto Tokyo for Watson. Easy pick off. The net worth advantage really showing here. And Kiyotaka will be able to find the Rasta, but likely at the cost of his own life. One more zip for Quinn, finishes it. And that is no buyback available for Kiyotaka. They do have one for Toronto Tokyo. Is Watson actually sticking around? All right, that's going to force the buyback. And now the instant exit. Gets off the multi-shot, though, as Watson. Going to get help with a big zip from Quinn. Mira, he didn't even bother finishing him off, apparently. Watson gets off the BKB. It's going to be traded with the Nightfall BKB as well. So Gaimin likely just resetting until all the resources are back up and they will attempt to finish this game.
Yeah, just gonna control the map. There's a lot of unspent gold. You can acquire the next set of items, but once again, this game kind of in the bag after they started getting the base, so everything happening from here on out, it's just a matter of not giving Aurora free moments of opportunity. I have to say, I'm actually surprised to see Aurora not GGing out. I would say teams like Aurora generally just don't bother with trying to make heroic comebacks like this. They just call a spade. Things went wrong, go next, unless they're, you know, in an elimination game. But
well, it's an elimination series.
They won the first game, though, so there is a third game to be played. It's interesting to see that pivot from them in terms of fighting it out the whole way. This is obviously a 99.9% dire win already, but you never know. Actually, it is 100% according to game. This is rounded up.
All right.
I have once in my life, Shannon, one time I have won a 100% game to the other team, that is.
Wait, what do you mean to the other team?
Yeah, the graph was 100-0 and we won as the 0 team. One time in a pub game. It has happened.
Oh, I don't look at that graph that often after a game, so it could have
after a
happened
game like that, I had to check.
Yeah.
I was like,
Fair.
how in the hell did we win this game? And it was 0.
Did you have any impact on that game?
I have never seen it in a pro game, I think. Never. A 0 to 100 loss, but it would be the first if Aurora did it now, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be interesting?
I mean, of all the teams to make that happen, who do you think it would be?
The most likely to be able to pull it off?
Yakult Brothers, right?
Team Spirit.
Well, that's true, yeah.
But they're not in the tournament.
Yeah.
No worries.
have,
Toronto Togo is no longer in the game.
Yeah,
so
and he doesn't have buyback, so
well,
that might just do it.
time for the heroic 4v5 from Aurora.
And they're just getting rid of these buildings that are called buildings.
Yeah. Yeah, they never bothered to change that name, but no, we can have Grab Al.
Yeah. Well, maybe if I start obnoxiously calling it something else. The Moonwell!
Why are they still called building? That's a good point. There's like different types.
I don't know.
And they're all just called building.
Well, the effigies are different than the buildings, of course. The other buildings are going down. The tier 4s, as here's the last stand from Aurora. They blow everything onto Drow. It's actually enough. Cost them a Bane buyback as Nightfall goes back to the base. And now the LSA onto Kunkka. Ace gonna get Nightmare closer to the fountain. Tidal Wave comes out. The pushing without the Drow is pretty pitiful, so Gaimin, I was gonna say, might want to just reset here again. Of course, Watson does have buyback, but I mean, this is definitely not a situation that you do that, surely.
Oh, Kiyotaka's in
Double
there.
shield crash. Tidal Wave gonna miss thanks to the Yules. Kiyotaka, he's X'd up at the moment. Lotus applied to Quinn. Nightmare. Kiyotaka doesn't have ult for quite a bit. Uses the roll-up, though. Toronto Tokyo coming to play now. Tidal Wave. Gonna hit on one. The creeps are in the base, by the way, so this could end without us even knowing. As Kiyotaka gets bursted down to the ground. Buyback instantly. The Laguna Blade. Rasta stays alive a little bit longer thanks to foul play. Actually blinks to safety. He's actually gonna survive this. Another buyback coming out from the side of Aurora. It's now or never, ladies and gentlemen. Toronto Tokyo. He's left alone because the rest of his allies are going to have to try to defend. Panto. Nightmare's a very tanky target. Nobody going to help.
Yeah.
Big zip again from Quinn. Swashbuckle going to be dodged. He's actually out of mana here. Quinn going to get soul ripped. Rolling Thunder again from Kiyotaka. Quinn is dead. All right. Watson has made an appearance with the Glacier as well. He's already expended his BKB. And again, the creeps are hitting the buildings as Watson and company just trying to distract Aurora from the inevitable fate of their base. 3 dead for Gaimin as the Undying instantly comes back to life thanks to his innate. And now the Ancient fully exposed. Tier 4's down. Gaimin gonna try to finish this without their Storm Spirit. Quinn, of course, does have buyback. Kiyotaka jumping in, has a blade. All right, not every day you see that. As the Hex, Hurricane Pike, goodbye, Toronto Tokyo. As Watson can do whatever the hell he wants at this stage of the game. Gonna get soul ripped as the Laguna Blade does literally nothing to Ace as the NNGG comes out from Nightfall. So we will go to a game 3.
Yeah. Took Gaimin a...
True.
You want to reach him, make sure you address him correctly. So, yeah, some interesting shenanigans here. We have somehow come full circle, so now Omni Knight and Ursa are back. They were some of the really big heroes 2 days ago. Then they got nerfed a little bit, fell out of favor a little. They've still been banned some here and there, but Aurora grabbed both of those two as their final 2 picks. The Ursa seems to be a targeted response to what they were anticipating would be an Ace Kunkka. It's a very tough lane for the Kunkka. It's probably the worst, is laning against Ursa. So Gaimin just pivot. And Quinn says, Ace, oh my god, can you play a real hero? And Ace says no.
Watson, he's dead. First blood, Toronto Tokyo. That is very unfortunate for the Gaimin Gladiators. Panel was talking about how Watson, once you get to the mid to late game with itemization, very powerful against this Aurora lineup, which I can definitely see. And we're going to see the cool facet as well, the quick draw.
Yeah.
But dying first is not going to help his cause.
It's a conceptually interesting game for Muerta because I think she's one of the best carries at dealing with Ice Blast later in the game, since the way Ice Blast usually works is you debuff an enemy for, like, let's say, give or take 10 seconds, and then if they die within that, job's done. But you can delay your death. Pierce the Veil's 8 seconds duration.
Yeah.
So as long as you can live through the magic part, you can probably outlast AA ulti, and then Satanic can become interesting. We'll see.
See a lot of harassment in this top lane as well. And yeah, I mean, I don't think I've seen in a pro match the Muerta versus Ursa matchup, but I can see that definitely being good for Muerta as well. Can't really nullify anything as Mira will be dropped by Malady.
This is a really strong lane, by the way. Muerta, Ringmaster. What a nasty combo. High range, strong poke, really strong spells. The calling Deadshot together with Tame the Beast and Impalement arts. It would be hard-pressed to find a lane that consistently beats this combo. And the one that Aurora have certainly shouldn't, but the goal here also isn't to win the lane for them, it's to get Omni Knight off to a good start, and so far so good. I really like the pivot from Gaimin, I have to say, of putting the Pango off lane. I think it's very clever. Effie was talking about the value of giving Kunkka the levels mid to play around him. I think the same could have probably been said for Pango, but the major upside here is that Pango should lane way better against Ursa than Kunkka would.
Yep.
You have the long-range spell casting for farming. Kunkka only has the one cleave of Tidebringer, and then he's kind of in trouble. Pango himself is also has a better chance of surviving if he gets jumped. So yeah, this is
like you said, we've seen the Kunkka versus Ursa before. It's not pretty.
It's terrible. Malady.
And is this our first game of Ursa today?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it was picked yesterday either.
I think it was.
It was?
I think so. I think we cast the game with that, actually. Just remember thinking about bears a lot, so it's either a fetish or it was in the game.
Yeah, 50-50 with you.
True.
Of course.
Watson. So this quick draw facet, really cool. Whenever Deadshot fears, it gives you extra proc chance of Gunslinger, and when you proc Gunslinger, you lower the cooldown of Deadshot.
Yep.
We've seen this, you know, mostly in the sandbox mode. Theoretically very strong, and I think we've seen a couple games with it. It seemed pretty solid.
It in particular becomes crazy when you get Ags, but Karim, where it's unlikely to buy that until very late.
Yeah, but will be a similar build to a lot of the range carries we've been seeing with the Maelstrom. And Dragonlance, of course.
Yeah, this is just how you built this hero. Falcon Blade. One of the few carries that likes this item, together with, say, guess we've seen it on Weaver, maybe seen it on Gyro. And of course, if Kez was in Captain's mode, we'd be seeing two of them.
Oh, man.
But
I can wait on that one.
yeah.
You think he'll be out before TI? I don't think so.
That's a good question by now. I would have thought he would, but
Considering how many things they've changed in each patch, I'm going to say I don't think so.
I thought 739 was actually going to be his CM patch, but they feel like he's not ready yet. Of course, a prerequisite for putting a hero in Captain's mode is that the devs understand how the hero works. It's probably the next step is for Valve to figure out what they've done.
Tofu getting gone on. The Cold Feed activates, and Nightfall in a pretty good spot to try to finish this. Of course, you have to worry about...
Not enough.
Yeah, he's going to proc the Innate and will walk away.
Do you think this Innate will stay? Do you think it's here to stay?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay.
It is really good, though. I mean, we're going to do top 10 list. That's a top 10 Innate, easily.
Like, it's
right?
situations like these are very polarizing, right? Because it feels so good for the guy who survives, but it feels unfair to the guy who thought they... It's like, I deserve this kill. I killed the guy. But no.
Tokyo getting gone on will survive, has the Lotus just in case. I mean, I could see the argument the other way, though, for sure.
I'll give Valve, though, it is a creative one. I think it's a really interesting idea. What you could perhaps do is change it in some fashion so that foul play shard is still the survivability thing. And then the Innate works in some other way. Who knows? We're testing a little bit of everything nowadays.
Yeah, mid lane, you can see that Quinn has a 34-10 CS line at the moment. That is pretty redonk against the 23-5 of Kiyotaka.
Watson
Now they're
seems
getting
to
on
know.
under the tower. The calling comes down from Watson as Panto making his way over as well. But the shackle, that is very nicely done. Toronto Tokyo dies under the tier 1. Panto looks to be next, but it's going to be a trade for the Ringmaster.
That's a great
that
map
every
read.
day.
They just knew this was coming. They saw AA was missing top for too long. They recognized, all right, this has to be a gate play. Watson starts playing defensive in the tree line. You bring in the Shaman. You could tell this was planned because Tofu TP'd instantly. Like, that is not a reaction. You can't communicate this fast unless it's premeditated. So he knew that this was coming. And an immediate response will give them a nice turnaround on that 2-for-1. Tofu's going to stay down here. Toronto, Tokyo.
Oh, this would feel so bad for Toronto.
Yeah, he just TP'd down. He is sniffing it out. He's scanned here.
Okay.
This scan doesn't confirm that Tofu is here, but it makes it increasingly likely, of course. They're also planning for the Wisdom. And this could be a very, very spicy fight. Advantage Aurora since they have the TP connection point.
All right, Shadow Realm has the Brambles available. Will use it. This is going to make it really awkward for Gaimin, actually. Purification comes out doing a lot of damage. Mira will be a trade for the Rasta, 1-for-1. Panto secures the Wisdom Shrine, and now Toronto Tokyo literally taunting in front of Gaimin Gladiators.
He's going to walk them down.
Yeah. I mean, that innate definitely makes a difference here. There's a tree coming from downtown, and one more Purification for the road. Toronto Tokyo coming out on top.
Dire's middle tower.
If you want to invade and try to steal this Wisdom, I feel like the vast majority of the time you have to bring your mid laner. Like, it's so easy for the Dire to just TP over one hero and protect that area. So, in my mind, either you try to snipe, steal it with one hero and hope they're not there, or you need to bring the numbers. At this point, the teams are just too good at protecting it.
Yeah.
Attempt failed from Gaimin.
Yeah.
It's the toss. Well, looked like he actually kind of just tried to toss the creep on him, to be fair. But the Bramble's missing. See the end of that play. Time for a power rune. Kiyotaka, unfortunately for him, it is bottom. Melody will end the fun on Ringmaster. And, well, I say that.
And he might die, though. Whip is barely channeled. Avalanche clips him. Gets off the box. Into the trees he goes. He will be finished off, meanwhile, top. This is a much bigger kill. The boat is coming for Nightfall. He pops the Enrage, attempting to TP out, but the X will bring him back. And Quinn takes him home. 1-for-1. Gaimin, again, getting a much better trade across the board.
Yeah, Quinn known to love to take home a bear after a night out.
Yep, he treats them right, you know, buys them dinner, caresses them,
Dire's structures are fortified.
gets out all the tufts of hair, really important in any relationship, really.
No,
Dire's
I'm not sure you fully picked up on that, but we're good. Tofu. Just going to pull this. Get a little bit of a stack on the hard camp, but no, Kiyotaka's actually going to block this with his random rotate. This is going to give up the gank.
Yeah, but as Tofu goes to the north. Yep, and that'll be that.
Yeah, it's hiding in the corner. Well, you say that'll be that. Panto has a little bit of a spidey senses are tingling.
Tofu will be found out.
What a good read. And that will be a kill.
Yes, indeed.
For Nightfall.
I mean, I will say one thing. I feel like the cooldown on the innate is too low.
What is it, 2 minutes?
Yeah, it goes off like every time, though. Like
2 minutes is a pretty long time, but yeah. I guess one thing you could do was make it better, but then make the cooldown longer. So it feels like old Reincarnation on Wraith King, where you get like a free pass once every 5 minutes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I don't know.
Really good.
Well, would you rather have that or this?
This?
I'm not saying full Reincarnation, okay?
Yeah, obviously. This.
Okay. Didn't even give you the numbers for the other one, but you're convinced. Yep.
Quinn working on a Radiant.
And everybody was shocked.
Away.
He didn't go Blade Mill, though.
Yeah, he felt confident that he's farming quite well, and he's right. He's top net worth right now. I mean, I kind of like this.
He has the chipped vest, so perhaps that's part of the logic.
Yep, Chipper really gives you all the confidence you need to get Radiance early. Nightfall being pursued by Ace right now.
The classic Ursa running from Pango that we're so used to seeing.
Yeah, he knows there's backup, though, and he knows that Quinn is missing.
That is the interesting thing about this matchup, is that if Pango has a good start, he can actually bully Ursa because the spell casts are so powerful. Look at Ace's skill build. 4-4-0 on Pango. Doesn't have ult.
Interesting.
Just full-on laning pressure to box out the bear as much as possible. Yeah, it's an interesting pivot. This is exceptionally rare.
Let's see if he goes the whole game without the ult. That would be the ultimate way to win.
What if the hero had a facet where it doesn't have its ult, but then it gets something else instead?
Yeah, all the other skills are just better? Yeah, I think that's cool, actually. That is really cool.
The ultimate swashbuckler Pangolier has no ulti, but the other spells are 25% stronger or something.
Yeah.
Holy shit, he would be insane in lane.
That's a real... Cinder, every once in a while, you have a good idea. That is a really cool idea that Valve are going to take and give you no credit for, of course.
That's how it usually goes when people have ideas in this game.
True.
You've probably patched this game more than anyone.
Between the both of them. That's true. Very close state of affairs right now between Aurora and Gaimin. A lot on the line here. Elimination series, elimination game. Torrent hits blindly for Quinn. As the 12-minute rune is upon us, it's a regen bottom. Kiyotaka gets the toss off into Toronto Tokyo's Purification as the AA blast. Oh boy, Quinn walks away. In the meantime, the counter from Tofu and company leads to a kill onto Mira. X, the repel is coming. Wheel of Wonder as well. They cannot look at it. It's too beautiful. The shackle, they have no damage follow-up here is the issue. And now a big toss back onto Tofu. He gets the snakes on top of Panto, though. And that's going to lead to the death of the AA. He goes down to the ether shock. What is going on?
Like, they can't kill each other, and it almost helps. It helps Tofu. He got tossed into
Free
the enemy
blink
team.
dagger.
Yeah, would you like to blink onto the AA? They missed the Ice Blast in the opener. They toss him in. Not Aurora's proudest fight ever. And it's big. This is a moment in the game that I really like Aurora's chances in this if they get off the ground correctly. In
that Nightfall's off to a rough start.
This
Bottom
is
net worth.
a bad start for Ursa.
Of course, yeah.
Pango now, with the ultimate available, will become much more of a threat, and if any team fights were to break out...
Man, that is... Watching him farm that can is really sad. That is very slow.
Yeah. What are we looking at for Battle Fury? 800 golds.
Yeah.
We'll get like 15 minutes Battle Fury. That is slow.
It's slow. It could be worse. It's recoverable as a toss back. Kiyotaka finding Quinn. Boat. Damage mitigation. Quinn gets away. As Panto going to be the recipient of the diffusal blade from Quinn, or from Ace rather. We'll use the Rolling Thunder as well. Gets the AA blast on top of the Rasta, so that should be a trade. Will pop. So Ace deciding to level his ultimate in the end.
Interestingly, the foul play did go off during Ice Blast, right? So I guess it's if you take him from over the Ice Blast bar to 1 HP in one hit. I would think the Ice Blast itself kills him, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Malady. Nice little souvenir there, bro. Fortunately, you had that one.
He's got the tonic now.
Yeah. That'll be another good one.
Toss.
Yeah. Fortunately, you had that one, bro. Okay, that's not
and
enough.
Purification.
Yeah, if only he had a bike.
The bike would have won the game.
Yeah, he might have left there on a unicycle, but
2K lead for Gaimin here.
how fast can you ride on a unicycle? What do you think?
I mean,
Can you ride faster on a unicycle than you can run?
Oh, 100%, of course. Not me, though.
Like, while keeping balance? How fast can you go on a unicycle?
Nah, the people that are good at the unicycling, they can go pretty damn fast.
People can run pretty damn fast, the ones that are good at running, you know?
Yep. Not as good as unicycle, Cinderant.
No, clearly not.
Now, the tricycle, that's an interesting one. Nightfall with a Battle Fury. We'll see if he can catch up in this game. I mean, even his teammate in Kiyotaka, right next to him in the net worth. I mean, they're all relatively close, I suppose. Nobody really breaking apart from the pack, aside from the Quinn on the Kunkka, of course. The Quinn.
Here comes Kiyotaka. Did he see him? He did not see Melody. That was close. Well, he's showing them he's there.
Yep, steal those Lotuses. This is worth it. This is worth it. Unicycle away. ready to activate the
Cushion?
single-wheeled
Doesn't even-
vehicle. He will use the whoopee cushion into the unicycle.
Oh, that's a terrorize out of the way.
And they use an avalanche, thinking he's already TP, but little do they know he's on a unicycle right now.
Right.
Into the north he goes. He's gonna whip creeps for some reason. Very greedy. Doesn't have a TP, so didn't really have much of it. He could have hidden here, I suppose.
I mean, this is just not
Uses
worth
the
it
box.
for Aurora, right? How long did that take?
Kiyotaka asking, how did you get a unicycle? And kills him.
What a waste of time. I chased him for like 35 seconds.
Yeah, that was quite a bit.
Surely that can't be worth it, right?
Only time will tell, Cinder. Whoever wins the game is the answer to that question.
Yeah. Nothing like being results-oriented. It's the best way to get better at Dota. If I won, it was good. If I lost, it was bad.
Yes, it's black and white,
Yeah.
100%. Very binary situation. Aurora's push is
Dire
really
are
bad.
Scanning.
Yeah, until Tiny is big and has
Radiant's middle
shard,
tower is under attack.
they don't really.
Yeah,
take
but they're not going to
buildings
be
like that.
really be pushing without Ursa. He's going to be farming away. They might get this tower.
Yeah, the classic push from Dark Willow and tossing illusions onto the tower.
I love how toss still works on buildings.
I think that's the least of Tiny's
Radiant's middle tower is
issues.
under
It is just
Sure.
random, though, you know?
Radiant structures
Nice cliff.
are fortified.
Oh, they're actually bringing an ace.
Tower
Yeah.
is under attack.
Okay, they really want to defend this tower. I mean, it's one toss away from death. He just needs to get any creep nearby on Kiyotaka. And now that you've TP'd ace in you kind of have to smoke, right? Like, otherwise, you're just there. He's going to run in for the...
Yeah, what do you think
What's
about Kiyotaka's build, by the way? We've been seeing a lot of the utility, Tiny. This is the Echo Saber.
Yeah, this is his default. It's fine as long as you get your BKB at an okay time. I think the downside to this build is the transitional period between Echo and BKB. If you die once or twice, it feels really bad.
Oh, Kiyotaka with the blank. Not able to find a good opening, but now finds the Ringmaster as Ace comes in with a Rolling Thunder, deletes the Ringmaster from the face of the earth. And Quinn, they actually put Panto on the cliff here. Will eventually drop, I would
That's a
assume,
really
but
good
he
PA.
actually gets away. The AA blast right on top of the Pango will evaporate.
Perfect
2 dead
Guardian
for
Angel.
Gaimin.
Haven't talked about that. That counters Pango mega hard.
Which
All-
one?
Guardian Angel. All his damage is physical.
Oh, yeah, that's
He actually
true.
does absolutely nothing except burn mana
Yeah.
and stun people and slow them and get shield. But aside from that, yeah, Malady is a little bit in disbelief. He got one shot. He died to toss plus a Hammer of Purity. 100 to 0. Yeah, we've been talking about Ursa needing to have a good game, and Toronto Tokyo is getting really big this game. If he wants to go carry build on Omni Knight, he can as an offlaner here, and that will put so much more pressure on the side of Gaimin.
Yeah, despite the nerfs.
I definitely think he should. If you go Radiance, I think you go the whole way. You just fully commit for the carry build. Get a Harpoon or whatever.
Tofu showing off the blank. Shackle is there. Kiyotaka, though, with the cancellation. And now the Bedlam with the Brambles, making this a bit difficult for the Gaimin Gladiators side. Mira gets the 1 kill. Will end up surely dying here. Yeah, the knife, the shank from Malady.
Bought his Yules before he died, though. So immediately queues up another Yules in his quick buy.
Haven't talked much about Watson.
Might be the first pro ever to win a game with 2 Yule Scepters in his inventory. I don't think I've ever seen that.
I'm sure if you go back far enough.
I do think he'll change his mind. Well, I've seen a player lose with 0 in their inventory after having 1.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe if the guy who picked it up already had 1, he would have had 2, technically.
Nightfall soloing the Tormy. Panto, careful, young man. Very careful now.
Bang! Shard
That's
for
a
Panda.
good one. Ice Blast stun.
The Willow one would have also been really good this game. There's no bad outcome for Aurora
Yeah.
in this sense. We were theorizing this back when the Tormentor just came out, that teams would start prioritizing supports that had good shards.
Yeah, I can't tell if that's happened or not. They just happen to have good shards a lot of the time.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that's a deciding factor on which heroes get picked, but I do feel like it has to give like 1 to 2% win rate to a hero, right? If it has a good shard, you'd think so.
I would imagine so. Oh, a blast. Okay.
Oh, it doesn't really matter. You get the shard if those are the ice blasts you're going to deliver, I guess, and you can upgrade it as much as you
greeting
like.
him. TP will be canceled.
Hello. Watson will take that.
Yeah, I mean, what are some of the bad shows? Like Pugna, right?
Pugna is pretty bad. The old Bad Rider one, at least. We used to always...
Yosaka. Oh, Ace already has roll-up, so... We'll be rolling away. Being a little greedy here.
Do you think...
No.
What? Okay. That's true. You don't. But, all right, put yourself into the position of a person capable of thought.
Hold your horses,
All right.
Cinderman. Dark Willow, Serpent Wards, dead. Yep. Well, a free pick-off for Tofu.
What do you think about heroes being able to TP during movement abilities in general? Earth Spirit lost the ability to. Storm still has it. Pango still has it.
Yeah.
Do you think that would be a reasonable nerf, or do you think it's actually important that those heroes are able to do it, in your opinion?
I think it makes it interesting.
Okay. So do you think Earth Spirit can have it back then?
Yeah, I don't see why he got rid of his.
Yeah. I would kind of agree with it. It would actually be a nice buff to a hero that kind of needs it right now. So
Ember can do that during Slight, right?
I
remember that being... I mean, it's not that good.
I'm not sure Ember
Maybe they fixed that one?
I'm not
I
sure.
don't remember.
But he also can't do it while he's traveling to Fire Remnant, right?
No, I've never seen that before.
He never was able to.
Dire are scanning.
Very tense game number 3.
Yeah, things have quieted down a little bit. Aurora have been gaining a decent amount in the last few minutes, especially Ursa is starting to catch up. So Nightfall, after... Weirdly enough, we're saying he had a really bad start. He's 2-1, but...
He was just forced out of lane.
He was bullied out quite a bit by a Pango.
I mean, do you think that's a mistake for Gaimin to not push the pedal to the metal in that case? Because it feels like both sides have been kind of passive, and Aurora is happy with that.
Yeah.
Their bear back in play is...
It's easier said than done, though.
Wheel of Wonder is placed. There's a repel onto Mira, though. Nightfall coming in to chew up Tofu.
Oh, that's delicious.
And a nice terrorize onto 2. Nightfall will clean up Malady eventually, and Toronto, Tokyo, and company. Look at the line there. It doesn't even say who died. It's so long. Avatos, Kiyotaka, Ace.
Another missed Ice
Yeah,
Blast.
that would have done it.
He's gonna live.
He's going to TP out, and the tree's not enough.
Oh. All right.
I'm guessing you would want it removed. Everything fun?
No, not necessarily. I just thought, the thought just came to mind. It's like, it's kind of weird how some heroes get to and some heroes don't, but it's not the heroes that, at this point, are underpowered that are able to do it.
Watson misses the dead shot. Understandable, because he hasn't had to use any of his skills this game. Just been killing creeps for the most part. Just got to warm up those fingers.
Rosh is dead.
Yeah.
Courtesy of Ursa Man.
24 minutes is pretty slow for an Ursa line. Nightfall inside of the pit, wants to chew up onto Tofu. He will eat it. Delicious, delicious stuff. Bears don't really like that, though. Toss back from a creep onto Malady.
How do you know?
As Aurora, it's just common sense. They're carnivores.
Pretty sure that's not the case for all bears.
Tofu that tastes like meat, maybe. Rubbed in meat.
Kiyotaka, this would be a big
Speaking of
find.
meat,
He has
Avalanche,
BKB,
toss
but-
back. Brambles there. AA blast as well. Gets off the boat. Nightfall wants to finish the job. It's going to be close. Quinn on the run. Malady. He gets the cleave. Nightfall.
What a convenient creep.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was really close to him maybe ticking out anyway, but
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
very convenient indeed. All right, so 3K lead for Aurora. They get to... I love his mannerisms.
Quinn has some of the best.
It's always a jump scare. Like,
yeah, I love his player camera. It has to be the best one.
There we go. Drink that
Him,
soda.
I think, okay.
That's a pro player right there. Look at that soda.
How about this?
Delicious.
Who else? Name your favorite player cameras. For me, it's Quinn and Duracio.
Oh, Duracio's.
Duracio's face palms were some of the best.
Yeah.
They're very animated when things go wrong for them.
Yeah, I love GPKs personally.
Yeah, just stoic.
It has no reaction to when he throws games from back in the day.
Yeah, and no reaction to when things go great either.
That's right. It's my favorite.
It's all business with GPK.
Oh, ace. What's he
Did
doing
they?
here?
Well, they definitely see him.
Yes, they do. AA Blast is a coming. It hits
That
him.
one hits.
It stuns him. Roll up into the Rolling Thunder. And TP away.
Jumped the gun a little bit on that one. You'd think maybe if they waited a little longer, the Ursa could have been in range. You want him to hit as the stun comes in, or you're going to see exactly that play.
Well, what's he doing there?
Trying to farm.
Okay.
At this level, when the games get into stalemates, you really try to get creative and just get around the sides of the map where you're hoping there's no vision. And as a Pango, you have a failsafe, at least somewhat, like we saw there. In case you get found, you might still get out. But yeah, there was no objective. The Wisdom was long gone. It was 25 minutes in, so just trying to find a little bit of extra efficiency and get some information. Sometimes being on the sides of the map, like let's say your Pango's out there and you see a core that could activate a play somewhere else on the map for your teammates, that knowing that that core is exactly in that position at that time. But mostly it is just for a little farm efficiency. Smoke up now from Aurora.
Yeah,
Do want to use their Aegis. They'll have an Orchid now on Ursa as well arriving. Big item against Pango.
Oh, yeah.
Finally be able to munch up not only Tofu, but also Pangolin, which I think is a little bit more down the alley of bears.
Kind of a hard shell, though, sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Kiyotaka with the damage rune as well.
Anything's better than eating a ghost, though. I don't think there's very much in that one.
Well, it's a dead corpse, so
Radiant's top tower
might be
is
some
under
meat left
attack.
over.
Let's
Dyer's
not
bottom
throw that.
tower.
Focus on the game, Shannon.
Smoke. Breaks. Avalanche. Oh, instant BKB and the box to follow.
Ice Blast missed.
Watson. Very fast fingers. They're going to lose their roster to start things out as Toronto Tokyo inside of the calling. Ace gets the Rolling Thunder off as Gaimin. Are they actually retreating or not? Rolling Thunder, like I said, has already been used. Now Kiyotaka still with the damage rune, wants to continue. Avalanche finds the Ringmaster. That's going to be the death of him. Boat coming out. And now Nightfall just munching on the Pangolin, like you said, Cinder, and he definitely liked it. It's going to be the cost of Toronto Tokyo, though, under the Tier 2 tower. Bedlam not going to be nearly enough for Mira. Required a buyback here, as the Aegis was used. A beautiful Avalanche toss. Watson is dead. Double kill for Nightfall as Quinn looks to be next. A couple more right clicks will suffice. As Kiyotaka ring around the Rosie. As Nightfall eventually gets the kill he came for.
Damn.
Full team wipe in favor of Aurora, and in fact that was 6 kills because that was a buyback on Tofu.
Gaimin stuck around thinking they could kill the Ursa the second time, but Kiyotaka shuts the door immediately. That Ava toss. That play is just over before it even began for them. Tossing. There's one of the heroes that was on top of the Ursa respawn. You toss the other one onto them, stun them both, and Nightfall presses 2 buttons and everybody just vanishes. So it was very nice and clean here. Gonna see a replay of that. So that's Orchid being put to use. The Orchid reveal against Pango very nicely. Nicely used. This looked promising for Gaimin, getting the Willow kill, getting the Aegis, and now here they are, waiting for the respawn, and this play.
Boom.
Massive damage. Ice Vortex for Tiny also. Some wonderful amplification coming out. And now a big lead for Aurora. 8K. They get both Wisdoms. So their supports will be looking quite healthy on levels. 15 talent unlocked for Panto, lower Ice Vortex cooldown. This one's really good. Now it goes down to 2 from 4. Gonna have a lot of those in the fight. Amplifying damage, giving vision. And the Dark Willow closing in on hers, which would probably be the Bedlam damage, is what we see most of the time. Gonna get caught though. Tofu with a nice find.
Yep, that's going to be an easy one. Panto uses the ult. Not hitting anything.
He's missed more than he's hit, actually, but still doing fine.
I mean, part of it is probably the tossing from Kiyotaka. He doesn't want to toss in place.
It's always easier to blame your team.
Yep. I mean, aside from that, they don't really have much in the stun department. Brambles, not a stun, but close enough for that purpose, I suppose. We love you, Panto.
Yeah, he's also
Well, not
typing.
Cinder, and I should say we.
He's also typing hearts in chat.
Okay. Tofu initiation. They find the Tiny. Boat is coming as well with a dead shot to follow. They needed this badly. Kiyotaka does drop to the deck.
Amazing what
As so does the Tormy.
Mira gonna get the shard now.
Okay.
Is under attack.
So now both supports have it for free on the side of Aurora. That will be the Cursed Crown upgrade.
Dire's structures
Currently
are
level 3.
fortified.
Nice
Dire's
blast
middle tower
for
is under attack.
scouting purposes. Was hoping to hit the Shadow Shaman, but Tofu was already into the base.
Dire's
Tier
middle
2 tower.
has
Now he's buying a
fallen.
Yules. This is a, one way to deal with Ursa. Hybrid item, both offensive and defensive uses are very good. They have two of them so far. One of them is on Mira on the other team, of course, but yeah, these Yules, use them on Ursa during Enrage. It's very nice. Use them on yourself when you get jumped until he has the Nullifier. It's a really good protective item against that hero together with Ghost Scepter. And now Toronto Tokyo will indeed get the Harpoon soon, so. Echo has arrived. Blink BKB Radiance. His job in the fights, I think, is just to jump and kill supports. If he can see the Shadow Shaman or the Ringmaster, just get in there, relieve pressure from your teammates by flat out just taking out a support on your own. They have to respect you. They have to back off. You cast Repel, you go in, your BKB and Repel is running out. Nice and easy way to approach a fight. Or you just jump in with BKB on and reserve your Repel for one of your teammates. How many debuffs are there to remove? There's quite a bit of stuff, right? Or not remove, but rather get bonuses from.
Yeah, there's the knife, there's the shield crash, there's the lucky shot.
Yeah, you could get some serious strength and regen. Torrent.
Radiant are scanning.
They still about 1,200 away from Aghanim's Scepter.
Yeah, with the Yules, he at least has a solution to the Ursa
Is there a
Orchid.
point for Watson? We're going to have to hold that thought, actually. Is it going to jump right onto Ace? He gets deleted! That was less than a second! That's not fair! Tormentor! That's not... they say Tormentor.
Yep, Tormentor.
Terrorize! Onto Quinn, forces the BKB. There's the Wheel of Wonder. Everybody's going to avoid it, though. Toronto Tokyo uses his BKB as the fight is onto Nightfall right now. He kills off Malady easily. And now the chase is on. Gaimin Gladiators on the run. They get the Yules onto Watson. And the Avatos comes out. He's going to pop his ult, though. Can he get any value out of this? Panto is dead. The AA Blast does connect, though. As, oh my god, he just two-shots Mira. So Watson doing quite a bit, but he might have run out of steam here. The buyback's coming out, though, from Gaimin as Ace gets stuck in a corner. That is unfortunate for him. Kiyotaka surrounded and killed off. Triple kill for Watson. Muerta has arrived.
What a chaotic fight. Looked like Panto should have been able to kill Quinn with just the Ice Blast, but he threw it onto Muerta instead. Maybe a miscommunication, maybe he wasn't in reach. But I thought for sure Aurora were going to crush them after they got the first 2 kills there. But the buybacks will, of course, help out. Well, you're going to see the replay here. Ace immediately taken out. And keep your eyes on Quinn here. He's going to get isolated in the bottom right here by the Terrorize, or Tormentor, as some people call it.
It's been a long week.
Modern name for this spell.
It's been a long week.
And Quinn is kind of just running out. He's doing nothing this fight. He's just getting zoned off by Toronto Tokyo. So I guess you're trading off heroes. He's going to run off screen, but trust me, he's following him. There we go. Going to follow into Quinn. And this is where you'd think Quinn would... You could just Ice Blast him here. They just think he's going to live? Or, excuse me, that he's already dead to the Willow? That would have been a nice extra kill.
1, 2.
Definitely could have taken Quinn out with a
Oh
blast.
my, again, Ace! Less than a second. This Pango cannot stay alive if they jump him.
Literally the same spot on the map,
That
too.
is crazy how fast he dies. I mean, what can he even itemize? I mean, the Ags gives you some stats, I guess, but he's not even having time to Yules, so...
Could buy a disc.
Yeah.
It'll work until Ursa gets nullified, and then you hate life the rest of the game.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, and his farm has suffered. You can see bottom of net worth for the cores.
Well
Big
down
separation.
there. Yeah. Still. All right, with that kill, Aurora kind of get back to where they were before that fight. He just still 4 minutes for Watson, though. And he's about to pick up something big here. The Daedalus,
Structures are fortified.
only a few hundred away.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Massive damage upgrade. We haven't really seen Muerta unlocked yet. When this hero gets to critical mass, it gets crazy. Let's see the play here.
Yes.
Basically the exact same spot.
Tower has fallen.
In the exact same fashion. There goes the tower to Nightfall.
All right, Daedalus for Watson now. He's already packing a punch. It feels like the way to play against this hero is you try to force her ult and then maybe disengage for a bit and re-engage. As Toronto, Tokyo, and company. They find Tofu as the Ursa comes in. A nice torrent onto 2, but it's not going to turn into anything for Gaimin. So the Aegis, 3 minutes for Watson. It looks like Gaimin still want to fight potentially here. JK, lol.
Yep.
Oh, Nightfall showing. Ooh, Link.
It is interesting when we go to true late game how this Muerta is going to interact with Omni Knight, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Guardian Angel does nothing against Muerta's ult, but it does everything against Pango. So we have this like weird dichotomy where you still want to cast this spell and get some value out of it, but at the same time, ideally, you have it outside of Pierce the Veil, at which point you can really shut Muerta down as well. Oh, that's a big rune. They're going to take it on Mira. Did not save it for a core. Felt like it was compromised. Might have had to take it, to be fair. So if they were to find a fight soon, Mira could easily solo kill a hero. Just amp damage rune.
$4K in the bank for Quinn. Sheepstick is what he has queued up right now. Can you enrage in Hex?
No.
It's one of the few things.
Yeah. Hex is a silence and...
Well, by that I mean, sorry, obviously I meant if he had Ags on the Ursa.
oh, that's... Well, I think it is a silence, right? I'm not making this up. I'm pretty sure you can in
Yeah,
Hex.
I'm fairly sure it doesn't, but I couldn't remember if they changed this at some point.
Yeah, maybe.
Radiant are scanning.
This is feeling like one of those games, Cinderin. We're going to end up with 3 Divine Rapiers in this game is the prediction that I have.
I guess logically you would be able to enrage in Hex if you were able to activate a Baton ulti in Hex when you're broken, right? That would be the same logic. And you can't.
That is true.
When you're broken, you can't manually activate it.
Right.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Or can you? I'm psyching myself out. Let's just move on. There's more important stuff at play
It's also not
here.
quite the same.
Yeah, I guess. There's more important stuff at play here. Gaimin pushing bottom. 25 unlocked now for Watson, so 20% additional gunslinger chance pushes it up to 65% before quick draw. Which effectively, if you hit a dead shot, I think you're almost gunslingering almost every shot.
The TPs. Kiyotaka on the run.
Is under attack.
Nightfall is out, so if they can find a catch here, they're not going to, though.
Do force Aurora back with the Serpent Ward still, which is nice. Feels like we saw the big snake like 2 games one day and everybody was talking it up and then we never see it again.
Which one?
The big Serpent Ward.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, some people are saying, man, that's broken. We don't see it ever again.
Right. Aegis expires, 3,000 gold gained, and 2 towers for Gaimin. Not bad, not great. This late in the game. Oh wait, they lost net worth, didn't they? They took towers but lost gold. Or?
That just shows I'm not listening.
Well, it's okay.
Let's get a read. Let's just try this again. It's been a long week here.
Sure has.
So with the Aegis, 2.7K was lost. Not bad, as Cinderin said.
Yeah.
Not too shabby.
True that.
This is the point of DreamLeague where both of us get a bit delirious.
Tower is under attack.
The insanity is creeping in with 2 best-of-3s for 2 weeks straight. Watson gets a freebie, tier 2,
Dire's
in the
top
name
tower
of Gaimin
is
Gladiators.
falling.
Oh,
That's a big item.
pressure for Toronto, Tokyo.
Yeah, and he has the mana pool for this. Gotta check that every time, especially with strength heroes, but he's A-okay. Omni spells are not that expensive ever since Hammer Fury cost 0. That really helps. Smoke on smoke action. This is a pivotal moment. Toronto, Tokyo will break it, and he's straight in there.
Oh my god, he actually popped the refresher already. Okay.
Bit of a misclick there.
Repel. Trying to focus onto Watson for now as the bear eats up the Ringmaster again. And Ace, with his ultimate, Trying to create some space here, but 2 have been lost for Gaimin already. Is now standing the ground is Watson. He's getting destroyed, though. They just rip right through him. They kite out his ult and then focus him down as Gaimin Gladiators lose 4 Aurora nada.
This is what's so crazy about late game Omni Knight as a core. Yeah, you see him getting tipped immediately. Didn't even play it perfectly. Toronto Tokyo just
Are we missing something?
just smashed his head against the keyboard when he jumped in. And
Are we missing something? Was something down that
no,
he needed?
I think
thought he had everything up,
He
right?
just misclicked. He blinked in and pressed BKB, and maybe his BKB and refresher hotkey are close together. So he just pressed them both simultaneously. But fortunately for him, he did press the BKB first.
Yeah.
So when he did refresh, he had a secondary BKB, and he got
This
off
is
one
where
good GA.
the buildings will melt to Kiyotaka, going for this more right-click centric Tiny.
Yep.
And Gaimin, they have 2 buybacks for the Muerta and Ringmaster. Not going to use it here. There's still a tier 2 top, so there is an option here to give up 2 sets. But then what? Kiyotaka, he gets the toss back. Quinn has to pop the BKB in retreat. It's off the tidal wave to no real avail. Kiyotaka and company, I do believe. Fortification popped. Creeps are still in the mid section, though.
Don't think they're going to back off until they get this Muerta buyback, and if they don't, they'll just take the lane, perhaps.
It's so bad to buy back with 20 seconds. Wheel of Wonder doesn't do a whole lot.
Wheel of what?
Ace
Okay.
wants to use ult. And it looks like they will end up defending.
Good enough.
Aurora playing it safe.
They only got half, and they will regenerate up.
Well, it will. Just the melee.
Yep. That's what I said.
You said they.
No.
Melee is not a they.
Well, it's personifying the barracks, nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
You don't know the barracks gender, please don't assume.
Kiyotaka and Aurora in very good position here to eliminate Gaimin from the tournament and to qualify for ESWC.
Yeah, this is a really big individual game for them. They're only tiny step away. One more good fight would do it, and Gaimin Gladiators, aware of that fact, are going to go for ye old Hail Mary smoke, but it's not going to find them aside from all 5. They will
Toronto,
not do it.
Tokyo. He has refresher back up in 8, so
Yeah.
they can definitely take a fight right now.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
And the jump about to come. Oh, they're all grouped up too. Avalanche, toss. There's the Eon disc proccing as Watson already has to use the BKB in retreat. Toronto Tokyo is just going to continue on. Uses the harpoon, but can't find the connection. So Watson survives. Second BKB for Toronto Tokyo. Now focusing on a different target. Will be a support. Rasta dead. Already 3 dead for Gaimin. As Quinn has to pop his own BKB, and the boat not going to do too much here.
Toronto Tokyo is zoning 3 heroes.
That's just so crazy.
He's just running at them, and they can't do anything.
Oh, Kiyotaka. Oh, almost got the toss. 1 buyback comes from the Ringmaster. There's another for the Rasta available. Tidal wave now onto Kiyotaka. He's going to get hexed.
They have repel.
He's a Christmas tree right now. He is sparkling. AA Blast coming for Mr. Quinn. Cannot self-exile long enough. He'll have to do that after this game.
Okay.
25 seconds for the Pango. And Aurora will back away as Roche is up, so they will be able to take that one very swiftly.
And the perfect timing for Aurora to strike would be in 2 minutes, because then Omni Knight has Refresher again. And that, for all intents and purposes, should absolutely be the killing blow here.
I have to say, this is a very entertaining Omni build.
Yeah.
Like the way he's playing, very cool. I feel like we don't see this.
What part of it?
Just jumping in,
I guess.
forcing the
Yeah.
supports out.
I suppose the carry Omni Knights have generally been focused a little bit more on fighting around their team, whereas he just plays it. But that's because he's the offlaner, right? That's what you can do, because you have the damage in the other 2 cores, so you don't necessarily have to kill the heroes yourself. When we've seen carry Omni Knight played, you're a majority of the damage for your team. But here he can just kind of jump in like an even stronger Tide, almost. You're just not going to die.
Quinn, level 25. Has the Tidebringer cleave. This is... Oh, he's going Nullify. I was going to say this is probably Rapier territory, I would assume.
Yeah.
Would you not?
I think so, too.
He has the Radiance, so can just take it apart with... I mean, he could get one right now with the Demon Edge.
What are you trying to nullify off anyway? There's the Wind Waker on Willow, Force Staff, Aeon Disc on AA, but I don't think AA is really the problem here.
I mean, do you think Divine... He feels like he does need a Daedalus, though.
Yeah.
He needs both.
True. Maybe Watson could buy a Rapier, though. On the Morta. I think he should. Let's see if they get there. He's currently queuing up Shard. Don't think that's going to change very much.
Now we have a refresher for Nightfall.
Yeah.
Can double self-exile.
Yeah. Well worth the 780 mana.
Indeed.
Okay, that was really bad math, but you can't fact check me, so we're good.
Too lazy. It's been a long week. So
Oh, you're right.
what?
It has been a long week.
Yeah.
An objectively correct statement for once. Those are rare. Gotta cherish them while they last.
It's almost felt like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been such a long week.
Yeah. It's because it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah. With you, it's worse. It kind of sound like your vampire character.
Yes, indubitably.
30k lead for Aurora. 2.5 minutes on the Aegis. And I would assume that... I mean, what are they waiting for here? There must be something super close. Shard, perhaps? For Ursa? 500 away. Ace? Well, the Ursa's not here this time, at least not yet.
They have the outpost.
Yeah, outpost, Kiyotaka. TP's in. Rolling Thunder away. Toronto, Tokyo, deleting the supports. We'll pop the refresher. Taking some right-click damage from Watson. He's just going to brush it off, though. They do get Ace in the end. And Harpoon now onto Quinn. Into the repel, into the retreat.
That's a real fake out. You blink, harpoon someone, repel yourself, and run away in a 5v3. They never see it coming. Not sure what he was scared of.
Maybe the buyback on Pango. I don't know. Ace has felt like he hasn't had a game.
You still have the Aegis. You kind of want this fight. You want to get your Aegis value out before it expires. Oh, that's...
Well, Omni.
Shout out to Duracho.
They gotta get the facepalm somewhere.
Radiant's bottom barracks.
All right, they will eventually get this second set, surely. Bonk. Kiyotaka and company. Gaimin just tried to delay a little bit. Second lane is theirs. Tier 2 tower did go down at some point. So now the Megas next on the list for Aurora. They're going to go all in here. 15 seconds on the Pango. They're doing a lot of damage to Ursa. That's life number 1. He gets the Yules off, though. The Wind Waker saves him, but he
really
ends up coming back as the Avatos with the Ice Blast to follow Kiyotaka. They get the Rasta. Kunkka is next. And unfortunately for Watson, he just doesn't have enough right now, as he actually does die to AA Blast.
Even
back in
Fountain. The second one, just in case.
Has the buyback for Watson. Quinn already expended his as Aurora. We're waiting out these Serpent Wards, or Toronto Tokyo still has Guardian Angel at the ready.
They still have so much left. He has full mana, refuses to heal his teammates. He's such a Giga Chad.
Watson has ult in 10 seconds if he were to buy back here. Kiyotaka onto the high ground. They force out the Wheel of Wonder. Not going to do anything other than delay. Nightfall bypasses it. Pops the Enrage, gets the tower. It's Kiyotaka with the Avalanche onto Quinn. This will be a dieback on if he ends up dying. He pops the BKB, though, as Kiyotaka is left alone by his team. He gets the repel, though.
He also has cheese.
From Toronto. And now they know Rolling Thunder is down. Watson still 40 seconds. We'll have to buy back here, surely. The whip onto Toronto, Tokyo. Torn actually hits Nightfall. He's going to pop the BKB, focusing down the barracks right now as the AA Blast with the Avalanche to set it up. They get the range.
They're playing this.
They still have not bought back on Watson. I mean, with a toss and...
I'll get it.
That's the barracks. That's Megas. Okay, so Gaimin Gladiators will try to defend. As the Avalanche from Kiyotaka onto the Kunkka again. So Gaimin successfully hold on to their buyback for Muerta.
You can tell that this is a really important game for Aurora.
Yeah, they're not clowning.
This is not how they would have played this game 2 days ago.
100%.
I really don't think so.
Yeah.
The stakes are noticeable.
Kiyotaka had a talking to. You can tell.
Yeah, I had a stern Kyo talking with him. Shout out to Lacoste. And Pyrian Flags, of course.
Who would do the talking on this team?
Well, I'm pretty sure Nightfall already accounts for 80% of the talking.
That's the screaming. I meant the talking.
No, he also talks a lot. He's a
okay.
very vocal player.
43K net worth lead for Aurora. Feels like only a matter of time. As Gaimin hold on for their tournament lives here. Of course, when it comes to the EWC, Gaimin Gladiators, they won last time, so they're already qualified. Butterfly comes online for Tiny. And we can see, obviously, Muerta with no MKB is going a refresher, so wants the double Pierce the Veil, double BKB. Understandable. It's just, it does feel like the Divine is required here.
Yeah. I think if you don't burst the Dire Heroes, you're not getting through them. And the problem is, you can pop Pierce the Veil and deal damage to the heroes in Guardian Angel, but you're not dealing enough that they die. And if you refresh again, Omni's just going to match you with another refresher. You have to do all the damage yourself during it, almost. There's very little other damage than Watson during the GAs. Nullifier for Quinn is purchasable, but yeah, can't help but feel like those are not getting to the really big ones here. And man, talk about a drop-off in this game. Ace had such a good start on this Pango. He was winning the lane against Ursa and probably feeling very frustrated that this didn't become a better game. He's currently 2-7-5 after maybe the best off-lane Pango start we've seen in quite a while here, considering the lane matchup he had against Ursa. Just never really got the big payoff. Now he's lower net worth than all enemy heroes.
Yeah, I think he was excited to play Kunkka. You could tell at the end of the draft they had a long discussion of who's playing what, and he got the Pango Cinderin.
It's easy to say in hindsight. It's like, if they swapped roles, would that have been better? I don't know. I think Quinn would have, or rather Ace would have been bodied on Kunkka top, and then you would have other problems.
Yeah, for sure.
But definitely is one of Quinn's best heroes, of course, the Pangolier. Refresher on AA.
Okay.
Oh, Aurora just,
3 refreshers. Sorry, 4. 4 refreshers for Aurora.
Panto's gonna get level 25. That's good to do neck exercises. Haters will say it's looped.
Nightfall takes likely the final Roche of the game. And they can give the refresher shard to Mira.
Yeah, because
nobody else can use it.
Yeah, true that.
I mean, is there any benefit to using the shard over the refresher? Is it less mana or is it the same?
Yeah, it's cheaper.
Oh.
The orb is 350.
Yeah, just leave it in there. Who gives a shit, honestly?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
It's 150 mana cheaper.
Okay. But they do share cooldown, so
yeah.
They all 5 have refresher now.
Ice Blast to the fountain. Gonna hit Malady.
Yeah, well, Nightfall going for a Divine. Even if he were to drop it, I don't see that having much of an effect, but...
Well, this is a 4% game according to Gabe Newell.
Okay.
Up from 9. I don't know what happened between then and now that helps the Radiant, but...
3% now.
Yeah, dropped a little bit again. What if this graph was just random and we all thought Valve actually did game analysis and it's just like drawing a graph? It's like, yeah, this team is ahead.
Ace, we have seen this, but the Eon Disc and the Self-Exile is going to stay alive as the Muerta pops the BKB. Trying to do some damage. We'll have to reposition herself. Refreshers galore for everybody and their mother. As the tier 4 tower, number 1 will fall. That's the Aegis. No tree for the Tiny now. We'll blink away. Be able to grab one. So the Ringmaster is the only one dead at the moment. 5 versus 4 for Aurora. And they can go in for the finishing blow here. all the mega creeps to watch. Fortification was actually popped by Aurora. As purification. Okay, well, Watson was there, Cinder.
Yep.
Nightfall insta-gibbs him. Finally forced out his buyback, as you can see he does two-shot Mira, so he does pack a punch. As Nightfall, he's going to feel that punch now. He's doing a lot of damage to the bear. Will Force Staff gets a nice dead shot. Repel. On the other side of the trees, AA Blast does stun him, as Nightfall is going to get healed and uses the Earth Shock to get away. And now the Muerta just stuck in place. Insta-gibbed again, as the GGs were called. AA, or Aurora rather, taking out Gaimin Gladiators.